right, I got numbers.
Okay, guys, we are at episode number 407 of the ClevelandMoto Podcast. Light them up, boys. Yeah, right? That was pretty good. Oh, there goes mine. I have the Oktoberfest Martzen-style beer.
Oktoberfest.
Oh, it's got a hell of a nose on it. Damn.
Hey, Steve, who's that made by?
What's that?
Who's that made by?
What?
Oktoberfest.
The Germans.
Thank you.
Germans?
I have chocolate milk tonight, so.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
So I did want to bring up, because this,
Mix beer and milk.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I've watched you mix all kinds of fucking shit. You can mix anything.
It's
I guess.
absolutely true. Today we got the keys for the house.
Oh, wow.
So John went with us. We went over and we did, crack the seal.
Yeah.
And they did a good job cleaning it out. They didn't leave anything.
Vacuum the floors and everything.
They really did a good job.
Did they leave the booze?
They left nothing.
Unfortunately.
Not an extra light bulb.
Wow.
Not an extra light bulb. It is a true fucking, they gutted it.
I'll take that, though.
Me too. I'd much rather have them start with absolutely nothing than to have all kinds of weird shit in there that we don't want, we don't need.
Until, like when I bought my house, I
Yeah.
can show you the pictures on Zillow.
Yeah?
And there's all these kitchen cabinets that look so nice in the kitchen.
Oh, they took the
looked
doors?
No, they looked all built in, and I was like, this is the best kitchen ever.
Right.
Then we get the keys, and I walk in, and there's no cabinets. They were just floor mount. They were just touches, but they just looked
Ouch.
like cabinets.
Yeah, all
They
right.
had nothing.
Yeah, that's not great.
I mean, IKEA has a whole portable cabinet lineup where it's
I know.
Yeah.
you take it with
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. So,
Oh, hold up. No, okay, I got. Oh, you're lucky, dude.
he's set.
I rolled the next.
Yeah, he's
one.
set. He's good.
Okay.
We got him all set up. Yeah, he's good. We got a microphone for him.
Yep.
Yeah. So I just wanted to, rip through some of these. We got some pretty good messages.
Ah,
There's been action.
Talk a little bit more. Are we going to talk a little bit more about the house, or do you want to do that later?
We'll talk about the house.
I mean, you said
Lay
that,
into it. Yeah, lay into it.
I mean, I think it's really nice. It's a cute little. What would you call that? Not Cape Cod.
A bungaloid.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a bungalow.
Yeah.
Typical kind of like Parma bungalow. Cleveland
A
bungalow.
bungaloid.
A bungaloid.
Had a really nice looks like sunroom on the front,
Yeah.
enclosed,
Yeah.
with some window. It'd be great morning breakfast. Sit out there, have like a little couch or something. Two top seating.
It's a cute
bistro.
little house, but the porch is fantastic.
The bedrooms were a nice enough size,
Yes. And
Check.
my absolute favorite thing about the house by far is the basement.
Oh yeah,
Huff.
The basement is fucking fantastic. The basement's just
so we've got the
Oscar?
knotty pine paneling
it's dark.
with what I would describe as one layer of shellac every other year had been
Yeah.
put on it.
Yeah.
Like deep. All the woodwork in this house has been very well preserved. It's like in
It's
amber.
got a gloss coat. It's like this-
amber. It's like epoxy coated very nicely.
Yeah.
It'll go up like a flame too.
Well, any house that
Yeah.
old would,
But I got to give it, you can tell that the guy that owned it took fantastic care of it.
Yeah.
And just really nicely done. It's got a wet bar.
Was he an older fella?
Yeah, he was an
Is
older
that
fellow.
yours?
No,
Yeah.
that's
Did you hear that? It has a wet bar. There is a working, functioning
Yeah.
sink
No,
behind
that's awesome.
Right.
the bar.
Yeah.
That's a nice house.
Yeah. The bar is fantastic because when we saw the bar on the initial look, the house was not gutted. The house was still extraordinarily cluttered.
Lived in.
Very much lived in. And you know what's great is it's got all the dark wood. Nobody painted over it.
Yeah, that looks nice.
It's all been, like John says, it's been stained and shellacked within an inch of its life. There's no chance. But this is what the basement, when we saw
Oh
it.
my gosh, yeah, that's
And when we saw the basement, it was just a cluttered shithole. And nobody had any idea, well, what was behind all this garbage. And what's behind all that garbage is a really fucking well done circa 1955 German basement bar with built-ins and shelving and all kinds of
it
cool
looks
shit.
like a mini-sized version of maybe almost like not quite as nice, but like a
Yeah.
mini-sized version of the bar at Great Lakes or any other old
Or like
diamond type bar.
Prosperity or some shit like that, or
Yeah, like it's got shelves for the booze, your
Yeah.
top shelves. It's got this, that. I mean, like
We're
everything you
calling
would want.
this back bar is an actual real back bar. That's not somebody cobbled that shit together. That was made by a bar company that,
Oh,
that
wow.
built that. Yeah, so that's real. So I think we're definitely going to call the bar Der Ratskeller, and Der Ratskeller after the bar in Munich. So one of my favorite bars to drink in Munich, and Der Ratskeller, because it is the Ratskeller.
And a bathroom.
And it has a basement bathroom,
It's unisex.
so that nobody will ever have to go upstairs.
Unisex.
So that thing about, we'll have a refrigerator in the laundry room and all the things that we'll need, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And hopefully Tom is okay with us wandering into his basement from time to time.
There is a separate entrance.
There is a there is.
We have to lock him out, though.
Put that in your mouth.
I don't think you would take too well to that. Hey, I'm paying rent, motherfucker. Yeah. But the garage is fucking awesome,
Yeah.
and the garage is massive.
It's actually drywalled inside.
It is.
Yeah.
It's insulated and drywalled inside the garage.
Well, that.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, that's down on the ground for the moment.
Man down.
But it's a really fun house, and
A lot of concrete pad there for parking vehicles. and
yeah,
stuff, yeah.
the best opportunity to park a shit ton of vehicles in the backyard. Just totally great. But it's fun. It's a really cool. I think it's a really cool house, and we'll be able to have a lot of fun with it. It's
I
super
can
cool.
see you guys paving the backyard just to have a parking
Well, we already
lot.
talked about that. I'm like, yeah, we should just pour the rest of this little. I mean, why even have to mow it?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Or get those X-shaped blocks. The grass can grow up between them.
Oh, yeah.
Those things. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I absolutely love everything about that. So that's it. We got the keys today. It's a big
Little
fucking
gutter
deal.
work on the front. One little bit.
A little saggy. It kind of right now. It kind of looks like the. It kind of looks like the house is stroking out a little bit, like the lower lip is like.
If you get up there and throw a couple screws in it, you'll be fine.
You'll be absolutely fine.
Don't let it fall off.
That's great. That's the only thing I could see that was a problem, obviously. But yeah, the roof's, everything's dry. The basement's dry as a bone, and we've had tons of rain. So if it was ever going to be wet, it would have been wet today when we went down there, and it was dry.
Have you met the neighbors at all?
We have. So today I dropped Renee off for, right quick in a minute. And I had to go because we showed up with a house with no keys. Renee was so excited to go see the new house and everything. And I was like, okay, since you're leading this mission, I figured she had the keys in her pocket.
Right.
I had to come back here and get the keys where I found John. So John was on his motorcycle on the Versus. So I picked him up. He chased me there. But by the time we'd
I
gotten
don't think
there,
he's chasing anybody on that.
by the time we got there, Renee had made friends with not one, but two of the neighbors.
Ouch.
As she started a neighborhood
Check,
watch
check.
in the time.
Already there.
Check.
Already functioning in process. So yeah, we're pretty excited about the whole thing.
Yeah, that's
So,
cool.
It's pretty neat. So we got a little place for Tom, and everybody's going to be happy about that. It's super cool. All right, anybody like to hear some bad news?
Of
I'd
course.
love to hear some
Okay,
bad news.
so it's going to be good when the title of the goddamn thing is bad review pending.
Oh, okay.
Well, at
Right?
least it's pending.
What,
Well, I mean,
It may not come
Is
through.
he asking us to do something to have it unpending?
wouldn't you like to know?
That's what I'm
I wonder if there's a way we could find out.
I would love to hear.
Oh, that we should read it then.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We should read it.
Okay, Jagoffs, I got a vent about this new $20 Patreon tier. Yeah, okay. let that one marinate for a second.
It's Mr. Jagoff to you.
And in case you weren't listening to the podcast a couple of weeks ago, episode 405, we introduced this new level that's the $20 a month fucking legend level. And one of the perks is that you're going to be able to participate
Right.
in whatever form you want. Now, in the room with us right now, but not in the room with us, is Oscar. Hey, Oscar. Is he there?
Hello.
He's taking. Yes, there's Oscar.
He was just listening.
He was just listening.
Yeah.
So we're proving that technology can work, so people
Yeah.
can join in,
Yeah.
and it's and Oscar.
Yeah, and I did not pay $20 to do this.
You don't have to.
yeah.
That was like when Nick DeVito paid his Patreon. We're like, dude, you don't need to pay Patreon. For fuck's sake, you're part of the podcast. Oh, but I don't live there anymore. It doesn't matter. Okay.
But it would be better if Oscar had a landline instead of this.
Well, I mean,
this
here we are. Whatever that was, whatever Oscar just did, I think he was dropping coins in a OnlyFans.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He has a landline. He's on a payphone that's installed in his
He's
living room.
dropping. Oh, it's another 50 cents. But that's the noise that makes that cha-ching, cha-ching when you get the girl to do something special.
Oh yeah.
Get the girl to do something special.
Clearly, you've never been there. Yep, you tip them. It makes a good noise. It makes a very rewarding sound. Anyway.
When you say it, what are you? Okay.
Okay. All right, we've gone too far. Chiefly, the part about getting 10 minutes on the show. You guys were giving this shit away just a few years ago. Ask me how I know. Because I walked into the shop a few years ago and one of your guys invited me to sit in on the podcast. I'm an asshat and passed on the invite.
Yeah, I'll never do that again.
Okay, time for some backstory. I go to someplace new every year for St. Patrick's Day. St. John's, Newfoundland, Savannah, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, Auckland, New Zealand, Boston, Mass. You know, respectable places. Until March of 2019. I decided to go to Cleveland that year via motorcycle from Virginia.
I remember this, dude.
Find attached a picture of my bike at Blue Knob Recreation Area in PA on my way out there. Anyways, I'm cruising into Cleveland and I see a motorcycle shop. Looks kind of cool. I stop in, wander around. Impressed. Very cool. Guy walks up to me, chats me up, shows me around. Nice guy. Asks me about my story. Yada, yada, yada. I'm a firefighter from Virginia. I go to someplace new every St. Patty's Day. Saw the shop on my way in. No idea what the fuck Cleveland Moto is. I wanted to check it out. Warm up, get directions. Guy says to me, hey, we do this thing called a podcast. Why don't you come up and be on the show? The folks will dig your story. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is a podcast? Guys sit around, bullshit into a microphone, and people tune in to hear this crap? No thanks. I will take one of those jackets on the wall because it's cold as shit up here, though. I proceed to ensconce myself in the Old Angle Tavern for 3 days. I made it downtown for the festivities and some touristing, but not back to the shop for the podcast. Attached is me at the rededication of the fallen firefighter memorial. Fast forward to last year, and someone clues me into motorcycles and misfits. That leads me to No Komodo and thence on to you. How did I not figure this out sooner? Patreon supporter all the way around. I've delved into all the archives. I've got the stickers, so on and so forth. I cannot believe I missed my chance at the glory and immortality of being on the show. And now you got to pay to play? Bogus.
Didn't you say that if they showed up, we would not stop? Like, it's more or less for calling in, right? Like, if you make the journey here, nobody's
Well,
gonna...
for most people, but for now, for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
I don't know.
right. Okay.
It's double.
Bogus. I rode to Cleveland from Virginia in the snow to blow you guys off. Now I can do it just as easily, tossing you only $5 a month. Huge fan of the show. Keep up the good work. I'll be in Ohio twice this summer. I'll call and make an appointment. If I have to lie to get in the door and tell you I want to look at the Bieber bike, I will. Mike Stewart. Nice. So there's Mike Stewart and
Come
his
on,
mustache.
Mike.
And his mustache.
Healthy stash.
Healthy fucking mustache on Mike.
The Bears.
The Bears. Yeah, he does. He does. That is a mustache that only a fireman can have.
Right.
Right? That is the perfect mustache for a fireman.
That thing comes with sausage and a heart attack.
It does. Yeah, Mike's got a hell of a mustache. And yeah, that's true. He's got one of those mustaches that starts at the top and goes over his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, now that memorial is actually really cool.
Yeah.
And it looks like a fireman fighting
A three-headed
flames.
dick? Oh,
Well,
sorry.
no, I'm just saying it looks like flames.
Yeah, it does look like flames.
And they made that new Martin Luther King
With the two
memorial.
arms.
It looks like somebody's head's getting shoved up somebody's ass.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, it's just a very odd. It's a very odd.
Hey, it's art.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't get art.
We got a 97 ton.
Really?
We got a 97 ton free stamp in the city of Cleveland.
I
People
know,
come
and-
from other states to take pictures of.
Right.
You're not going to get it.
I know. I just don't
Yeah.
get art.
Yeah, believe me, I don't think you're the
That's
target
twice.
audience.
No. Art is like, to me, art is in machinery. Like there's art in machinery.
Look, you see art in a fucking hasp on a door, and you're like, oh, that was well done. That was genius. What they did there, that's amazing. And meanwhile, it's just somebody's fucking hasp, right? Yeah. And some dick knuckle looks at the skull on the top of this bourbon pump and goes, oh, that's what this thing needs. This needs a big chrome plastic skull at the top of it. And somebody did that, and to me, I was just like, wow, you started okay.
Yeah.
And then you just fucked everything
Well,
up.
topped
here's
it
the
off.
problem.
Yeah.
So the other one, the gas pump one,
Yeah.
they were out of it. So I had to get the skull.
Well, I mean, so the other one, what did the other one have on top of it?
Like a gas, like a fake gas pump. Like, like the old school.
Like a circle.
Yeah.
Like a little
yeah,
medallion.
not much
A
better,
globe,
but a little bit
medallion,
better.
a globe. Thank you.
Better than a skull.
Globe.
We can easily make that into anything we want.
Well, of course we
There's
can.
Put a piston on it.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's a good idea.
But
And we
again-
got to put a weight in the bottom to weight it down a little bit.
What did we tell you?
I actually want to turn it around. I want to put it like a needle coming out of it, make it look like a syringe.
That is a prison dick. That is one prison dick you didn't have to have. And somebody said, you know what this needs?
Yeah.
A prison dick.
Yeah.
Because every skull is one prison dick in your ass. That's it. So you just be careful with those skulls, boys. You know, that's it.
Well, it is the Screaming Eagle edition.
It is the Screaming fucking Eagle edition.
Well, that
Right
was
on.
kind of a nice,
yes.
bad email, but I really wasn't impressed.
Okay.
But thanks anyhow.
Well, I'm glad
I'm more
you're
impressed with him than you.
I'm glad you're hard to please because I got another one.
I want one that calls me out personally.
All right.
All right.
You ask and you shall receive.
You won't be let down. Consider this my gift. I know it's not your birthday anymore. It's your gift.
No, he said no. He celebrated his birthday for a week.
Yeah, okay.
It's his birthday month, I thought.
Depends on
No,
how much.
now he wants it for a year.
Yeah.
He wants a birthday year.
We're going to start last year, though.
Every time you get older, you start to appreciate that extra year.
Yeah.
Okay. I had to. I after I read this fucking letter, I had to do some research because I thought I could figure out who this guy was.
Oh.
And he's intentionally being obscure.
Oh. Wow.
Not triangulate him.
I couldn't triangulate him, and I tried triangulating him. I stumbled onto your podcast about a year ago after diving down a rabbit hole of vintage motorcycle maintenance tips on YouTube. Since then, I've been mainlining your podcast in the car, at work, and in my garage while working on my 72 Honda CB500F. Nice. It is the greatest four-cylinder motorcycle Honda ever built. I don't care what John or Steve say.
I have one, so just shut the fuck up.
Oh, he is too. We fight over it. I'm trying.
I know.
I had a long discussion about this
Yeah,
today about his greediness and not wanting to come off of one. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just let me help you make one nice one and then you can give me the scrap?
No, because one's got aim hangers and a sissy bar.
Totally different bikes.
They're totally different bikes.
And they're not 350Fs.
Nope.
And they're not
One's a
750Fs.
500, one's a 550.
And they're not 550Ks.
I'll tell you what. Bring me that chopper so I can put a Harbor Freight motor on it, and you fucking get his.
Oh, my God.
Chopper? Okay, are you serious? Because it can show up in your driveway.
Yeah, 149 bucks.
We just lost.
Fucking Harbor Freight
lost
motor.
Oscar.
What?
We
Did
just
we lose
lost
Oscar?
Oscar.
Did we
He
lose
hung up.
Oscar? He probably did.
Oscar's 10 minutes was up.
He'd heard about this podcast and said, "Fuck it, I don't
His
need
10
it."
minutes is
Is
up.
that his bike?
No, it's not his bike, but it's to help our audience understand what they are.
No, I like that color.
Goldilocks.
I liked every color of that year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a green one and a purple one.
the Bacchus green is my personal favorite.
That's what that's the
I
one I
see
have.
there.
I'm here.
Oh, good, excellent, yay! All right, so anyway, back to this situation. We got this podcast listener that. So he says CB500F is the greatest four-cylinder motorcycle ever built because
He used to like the podcast.
Here we go. I recently received a notice to report to human resources at my company. I have been employed as an executive partner within this company for 21 years.
He's a young fella.
I was playing your podcasts in my office and laughing my ass off. My office manager was with me, and she was also dying of laughter. Unbeknownst to us, big word, the shenanigans could be heard in the lobby and at the front desk. A potential... I know the kind of garbage we throw.
I hope it wasn't episode 151.
151.
Or 403 or whatever the fucking one was.
Oh, it gets better.
Oh.
A potential new hire got an earful and reported it to our vice president of operations.
Aw,
Seriously? And he didn't even work there yet, or she? They?
Fuck is bitches,
Them?
man.
Potential new hire.
Fuck that guy. That guy gets booted. I hope he didn't get to the
Trying
job.
to skip right to the top.
I wonder if we find out what happens.
Well,
Let's
I'm allowed
wait.
to be quitting.
Let's wait here.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah.
Okay. A potential new hire got an earful and reported it to our vice president of operations. To satisfy her, he said he would report the incident to the human resources department. I've got immense respect for our vice president of operation. That's why I hired him 10 years ago. I can't say enough good about our human resources manager. She's been with our company for over 20 years. One of our other partners sat in on the meeting. I
hope they didn't play this podcast.
I was compelled to describe what a tanuki is.
There you go.
I don't need to tell you how awkward that was, let alone describing that we were listening to a motorcycle podcast.
Sort of.
Our company has been trying to formulate a podcast for 2 years now, and our CEO was curious how I ended up listening to your podcast. Side note, I'm sure they heard us talking about it's basically a raccoon with giant balls.
Yeah, right.
And we said that 1,000 times
Yeah.
at maximum volume.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
Enough for the potential employee to hear.
I want to know what a Tanuki is listening to the podcast.
So, what started as a disciplinary meeting turned into a marketing session.
And Tanuki is
I was-
now our mascot.
I was told to write down the things that keep me coming back to your podcast, but to please do it with the door closed. So that being said, send me a fucking Tanuki mug. I've enclosed $20. Side note, if you like listening to this podcast at work, be aware of your surroundings. He signs it, Joel Flattery. You idiots don't need to know where I work.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, so I did some checking around and
Can't wait to go give them a Yelp review.
yes, this is, yeah, I was like, oh, we could have some fun with that. Three stars. So anyway, I thought that was pretty good. And it did bring up, we do have Tanuki mugs.
Yeah.
And we don't even push that shit.
No.
So we should start selling those. We should start selling those for $20.
Just
And-
get your money back. On something,
yeah, at
you
least
know,
we get
like
some of that back, right?
Well, he
But yeah,
definitely deserves a Tanuki.
I think he deserves a fucking Tanuki mug.
That's awesome.
I think it's great when you get called in on the carpet.
Yeah.
And you hired both the people that you have to report to.
Well, like you said, you got to fuck up the move up. So
Well, you know what's funny? So, like, occasionally, like at work or
Yeah.
something, somebody brings up podcasts, and everybody's like, because of Aaron and a couple other guys, they're like, well, Cinch does one.
Right, yeah.
Like, well, can you bring one in so we can listen to it? I'm like, yeah.
Can I bring one in? Are you not aware of how
Can I bring
podcasts
one
work?
in?
Well, no, but
Hold
you
on,
don't have
yeah.
to print the internet.
Hold on, I got a box of them in my office.
No, but I think they want
Go bring
me
one
to,
in.
They want me to bring one in that I think is
Tube
something
one up.
that I could play at work.
No.
So I've been going through them, and
No.
there's none.
No.
You're going to get called into HR.
Oh, I listened to the Revzilla podcast yesterday when I was delivering bikes.
Yeah.
I've listened to maybe every 10th one of those, right?
Sure.
And I'll do they do a monthly wrap up. I'll listen to that.
Hey, Spurgeon, her.
And they had the Jeremiah kid in from Donut, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they had him in here, and so it was interesting. It was more interesting, but they bleep. So there's no cussing.
oh.
They bleep. They bleep every fucking thing. Like, so ass gets bleeped, shit gets bleeped. You know, even little ones, like even harmless ones get bleeped.
This hell get bleeped.
But it fucking, you know what? It takes.
Vajankle get bleeped.
I'm sure they would have to have a whole different. They'd have to have a meeting on Vajankle. Yeah. Vaginalinguists. Yeah, I don't know, but they got So that was pretty. That's pretty fucking
They
good.
really would have to bleep the last one he came up with.
Well, so there's that. Okay, but we did get, and so I do want to say that since we launched this call into the show thing, we've had pretty good response. We've had some of our podcast listeners have bumped, like Josh upped it, his normal pledge. He went to the $20 level. He's got some shit to say.
Yeah.
Now, can you get time served if you were spent 3 months at one level and you bumped up to the 20? Do you have to do your full 6-month sentence before you can call into the podcast?
You have introduced nuance and intricacies to something that Renee and I did not think out.
Did not need to go.
Okay,
We
sorry
didn't
about
cover that territory. We never thought that anybody.
that. You can
for-
petition the clerk of courts and he'll make a ruling.
To clarify, we didn't think 2 people would sign up, let alone
Much less.
people actually upgrading from whatever level they were at to get to that level.
No, it's like selling something. You put it on like eBay for whatever, and it doesn't sell. So then you double the price, and then everybody wants to buy it.
Could be it. Yeah, that could be it. That's absolutely a real thing that could be happening. So, but anyway, just absolutely dig the shit out of it. Big fun.
Okay,
So-
you know what? He's inspired me to pull the rack of carbs off my 500
Oh yeah,
and get them done this week.
right on. Yeah,
There you
that's-
go.
Yeah.
So,
Not this week. I'll say by the end of
Not
next
this
week.
week.
Okay.
Next
So-
week. By the end of next week.
Chris and I went to
We went to
what town was that?
Dayton or
West
something?
Overshoe.
Or, well,
West Ocean. So yeah, we went on an excursion. So we drove about an hour and a half,
Finley?
west, Finley-esque,
Yeah.
Lima-esque or something, right? Anyway, we'd gone off to find a 1974 Moto Guzzi Interceptor 850. And we were called by the widow, and the widow just basically said, among other things, there's a motorcycle in a storage unit that we have that is in pieces that my husband owned and that one of the last things he did was he took it apart. He was going to restore it, but then he left the mortal plane. And she was kind of going on a little bit, and she's like, he rode this bike, and he worked at the Lima tank plant, which is 45 minutes from our house. He built M60 tanks, and he built M1 tanks, and I went, Jesus Christ, I'm a tanker. Like, that's cool. Yeah. And she goes, oh yeah, he worked on the M1 tanks. He built all those. And I was like, that's fucking sweet. And then we got down there. Chris described the place.
Well, you guys have seen recently Syria and Turkey. Yeah. There's a little destruction over there. No, this is kind of a backwater.
It's a very small town.
Yeah.
Very, very small town. And this was a bakery in the 50s?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bakery in the 50s.
They still had the ovens.
Fucking huge oven, sleep 6. Yeah, big.
10
oven.
feet, 10 feet across.
Yeah.
I'm going to roast a cow.
Big fucking ovens. Big ovens. But that cool, like porcelain front on the building.
Oh yeah.
The blue, like real 50s, mid-century
Baked
modern
on
style.
porcelain, sure.
It was cool.
Yeah.
But the place hadn't been a bakery in forever.
Oh wow.
It had only been a storage unit. Did she say that Mom was trying to run an antique shop or something over
Yes.
there? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what we had done was we ran into the daughter and the granddaughter.
Now, wait a minute. You gotta explain backing into this place, because I could never have backed into this place at all, and I've got zero skills. But
Yeah,
Phil, Jesus
my new
Christ.
truck's long.
Yeah.
The new
And
truck,
wide.
The new truck is big, and these people invested in those little 2 feet tall, 3 foot tall parking
Concrete.
bollards
Yeah.
that you can't see
Yeah.
when you're in the truck. And they had all been molested, so each and every one of them was at a 22-degree tilt.
pointing toward Toledo.
Yeah, they were so bad. But I was like, man, I don't want to be in this alley. Well, I didn't realize until we got kind of in there that nobody's been up that alley in a long time, and we wouldn't
Not
have been
in a vehicle
blocking,
your size.
We wouldn't have been blocking shit.
Oh wow.
But we did. We did the death of 100 turns, and we got it all turned around and backed in just perfect, like just perfect.
So was the bike was in the bakery thing?
It was in the prep area for the bakery. It was adjacent to at least a 700-pound mixer.
Wow.
That will be there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Big mixer. Yeah.
It was a cool mixer
Bar
too.
4-speed stick.
Yeah. That's kind of what this thing was. Yeah. There wasn't a piece on this mixer that was less than 6 inches thick. Like
Four barrel carb.
Oh yeah. This thing is
I mean,
vicious.
It was like 3-phase,
Yeah.
220, 4-speed with
Oh,
a clutch. Like,
yeah.
We put it in gear.
Yep.
Pick a speed,
Yeah.
crucible this big, like
Yeah.
only I could lift it.
Oh yeah. And the weird thing was,
I love it.
this is a device that is meant to make food, and ideally dough for bread. And there are exposed gears that are covered in grease,
Oh yeah.
literally a foot above where the bread would be.
But it's food grade grease.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
And all those metal shavings that go in there. It's iron. You need the iron in the.
Some fat bastard like me sitting there running it, sweat dripping.
House flavors.
I got into my work.
Scratching your
He
did.
did literally.
There's batches.
There'd be a puddle
Yeah.
where I stood because there were all these ovens
It's a whole new mother yeast.
with, a dry, like
Yeah.
a crescent because it was going.
I got. So the place was rough. I mean, it was rough.
Yeah.
And it had been used as a storage, basically catching everything for like 30 or 40 years. Wow. Easily. And now it's time to empty it out. And just the random shit that was in there.
So is their house nearby? Or are they paying rent or
we don't know.
mortgage or something?
They're paying rent.
Oh.
Yeah, they're paying rent or mortgage on that building. That's not where they live.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I thought they owned it though.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I think they own the joint.
Steve, I'd like to go back and to say they're paying tax on it.
That's what. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm saying
yeah.
they're paying something.
Yeah, they're not paying a gas bill.
Right.
Whew, no.
No.
I don't think they're paying a water bill either. I'm glad I didn't have to shit while I was in there. But Chris and I, we did a hard target search. And even when we were like, I think we're doing pretty good, then Chris found another box. It was like, oh, transmission.
Yeah.
And we found it. I think, knowing what pieces go in a motorcycle.
I mean, it's not like you don't have a couple boxed up
Exactly.
Moto Guzzis to go.
I know what they look like when they're in boxes. But
Both wheels.
yeah, we found the
frame,
wheels.
Exhaust.
Beautiful exhaust. Yeah, and a brand new crossover. So he bought some stuff for it. And those bikes in 74, it was a 1 year only bike. So it's kind of a rare bike. and they're not. I don't know. I don't know if I can find the. I'm not going to say it's not a handsome motorcycle because it is a handsome motorcycle, but it is an Interceptor, and I do feel like this is one of those things where they put the name on a motorcycle when they've run out of other ideas how we're going to sell it, and they're like, okay, well, so what exactly is it? Okay, well, what exactly it is it's a Moto Guzzi 850. Okay, well, that's our big motor. That's cool. And so what else does it have going for it? Did I mention it had an 850 motor in it? Oh, yeah, you did. Okay, can we move on? It's got a 6-gallon gas tank. Well, that's nice.
It's a nice looking bike, though. I mean, it's not hideous or anything.
Right, but the problem was on the spec sheet. The brother to this bike was called the 850T3. And it was called the 850T3 because the 850T3 had triple disc brakes. 2 discies in the front and 1 discy in the back. And this thing has got 1 disc in the front and 1 drum in the back. So it shows up to the party with a lot less braking. Now, what a lot of people do like about the bike is that they do say that it doesn't have the complicated, shitty look that the later ones have if you ever look at any of their gauges. So when you look at some of the later model bikes, the gauges are like they were trying to put too much shit on the Moto Guzzi dashboard, and I think that that's where this bike is very clean. It's really kind of natural looking, and it's not a light girl by any standard. Everything's made of metal, and it's a heavy bike.
That's
so
1974.
that's 1974.
I mean, if you put a CB750 right in front of it,
yeah.
it's like, well, there's a lot of, that's what 1974 was doing. Right?
It was.
Yeah,
it
you're right.
really was. So from a collector's standpoint, some people would say, oh, it's kind of collectible because it's a 1-year bike, right? Other people would say, well, it's a Moto Guzzi 850 Tanti frame. It's valuable just based on that alone, right? It's a good, decent looking machine. The one that we picked up doesn't look like this.
Right.
No.
Well, how are
Does a little bit.
So, is there anything on it that you don't have that's specific to that model that might be hard to get, or is it most of it just common Guzzi parts?
Well, and that's that game now where you're just like common Guzzi parts. Well, Jesus Christ, if anybody fucking has common Guzzi parts, you call Harper's and you're like crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. But we did discover why it was decommissioned, why it was torn apart, because somebody had gone to the trouble of taking up the whole motorcycle apart. But if I was the one taking the whole motorcycle apart, I would have kept the motor and the transmission together.
Yeah, right.
They weren't. The transmission had been removed, and all of the guts of the transmission were no longer in the transmission.
Oh, they blew a gear.
Something happened.
Yeah.
Something happened. We did get to talk to the daughter and the granddaughter, though, who both, had said, oh, yeah, we rode around on that. Like, we'd go 3 up on that bike. When he got that bike in 75, we rode all over the place on that thing.
This is just my curiosity.
Yeah.
But these people that you're talking to, if you had to say, are they more like a banana, a pear, an apple?
Oh, yeah. I see what you're going for. Yeah. I mean, this is
Rural.
This is rural America.
So,
I'd say rutabaga.
I would say this is there's no shortage of Amish buggies where we were, and you can tell that. Yeah.
Plippity plop.
A lot of white flour consumed in the household. Absolutely. So, yeah. But I thought people would be interested because the agreement was I was going to get the bike for free.
Right.
And the thing is, once Chris and I got there and we kind of saw what these 2 women were going through, I couldn't just take the bike.
Yeah, you got to throw them a few
I had
bucks.
I had to pay some lunch money, man. I felt so bad for what we were doing.
And Phil was generous. No, you were. I'll
Hey,
hand you that.
Okay, yeah. But I just couldn't. I could tell there was a lot of emotion involved and that it was heart-wrenching for them to see this motorcycle go away.
Right.
But
they knew that the boxes were not going to do anything.
no,
Right.
no. And they wouldn't. And they called other Moto Guzzi dealers. So they'd called other Guzzi dealers and they were like, yeah, we're not even going to show up and pick it up. Like, where are you? Like, is that even in Ohio?
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, we talked to 2 other Moto Guzzi dealers and they didn't even want to send somebody up here to look at it.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm glad we showed up then. It was cool. And
The other guy said something about our hat.
yeah, ma'am, if you have a hat, you might consider. But I will tell you this, with the motor disconnected, with the transmission disconnected, that motor is still a pig.
Oh yeah.
And you fucking lifted it by yourself.
I
you
have
crazy
lifted,
man.
I have lifted a lot
Jesus.
of Harley Davidson motors that are lighter than this.
Yeah. What does it weigh? A couple 100 pounds?
It's very fucking heavy.
Yeah.
I grabbed that thing and I could just literally feel my left nut trying to jump out my hernia hole. Like I was just like, I could feel that, like, because I've had a hernia replaced. I've had a hernia fixed rather, and I could feel pressure in that area. And I was like,
Good,
oh,
thing
man.
good thing they double knotted it.
They double knotted. I got 2 screen doors. Yeah. So, but I thought that was really funny, and it was fun going out and picking the bike up.
Yeah.
That was cool. Chris and I got to have like 3 hours in the car together, so that was neat.
The worst 3 hours of
Oh
Phil's
my
life.
God! Oh, it's fine. We did great. I
Did you get some
we did.
Strohs while you were up there?
No,
Down with Chris, it's not bad.
it's not bad.
We didn't get close enough to the Strohs.
Oh,
This is the color of the one that we got. So the one that we got is this color. So
I like it.
chocolate.
Oh, chocolate.
Chocolate. Yeah,
Oh,
sexual
that's
chocolate.
That's bourbon in color.
Ooh,
that tank
that
is
very-
actually pretty cool
I
looking.
like that tank a lot, man.
Well,
I
that-
like that bike
yeah,
a lot.
so-
So what's the status of it now?
still in the back of my truck, dude.
It's gonna make it to Mid Ohio though, and
So
all
it's a-
together
it's
and
a-
running, right?
What did you call it? Oh, a 1-to-1 or
It's a 1-to-1 scale model. This is a 1-to-1 model kit. If you want a 1-to-1 scale model kit of a Moto Guzzi 850T, I have one.
call right now.
And everybody's like, "Oh, I'm collecting toys, and I got to scale model this, and I got to scale model that." I got to scale model a Moto Guzzi 850T Interceptor, and it's the best scale you could ever have, 1-to-1. Yeah.
Call 1-800.
Yep. Well,
Big-
that gas
Big
tank.
Phil.
Yeah, that gas tank was used on a lot of Moto Guzzis. That gas tank found its way onto the Moto Guzzi
Why does it
T3.
look so different? Is it because of the stripes on it or something?
Don't
on
know.
That one?
Don't know.
It looks
the
different.
tank looks like a dirigible or something.
Yeah,
It does.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah, you
tank.
nailed it.
Yeah,
Looks like an M80 went off in there.
the tank looks like, okay, we're going to start out with a nice conservative 4-gallon tank. And somebody went, nope.
Nope. That was a peanut tank from a Harley
That was it.
originally.
So he's like, yeah, no, stretch that baby out to over 6 gallons.
That's a silver salute
Yeah.
right there.
6.5. Yeah. Boom. 6.5 gallons right there. So anyway, I thought that was fun.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it's not. It's a good. It's a
Yeah.
good look. This is an honest 1975 motorcycle, 74. So it's
But
an
here-
honest 74
so here's the
motorcycle.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Is it? Maybe I'm just. I know I'm stupid, but
Spit it out.
what I'm saying is like, so there's us, and I guess we surround ourselves with people that like, older bikes and stuff. But to me, it seems like the general public also likes a classic motorcycle. So what's with the new guys? Like, all they're doing is constantly bringing out these angular bikes, and they can make so much money if they just put out a fucking standard bike. you know?
Well, yeah.
right?
I mean,
But also, like some people are doing both. Like Kawasaki, you're one of your.
Well, they have the
favorite
W.
monikers.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you can get the Kawasaki Z650, or you can get the Z650 RS.
Well,
or you can
yeah.
get the Z-
Yeah,
you
that's
can get-
right.
You know what I mean? You can get it either
Yeah.
way you want it.
But it just
I mean-
seems like it's hard to find them. There's not a lot of options. But
I think
there's so many.
more
angles.
right now. There's been, over the last 5
Yeah.
years, they've
Yeah,
been
yeah.
rolling out a lot of retro-looking, like.
There's
Okay, we
yeah.
understand you like the look of the classic bikes, but we know you can't work on them because you're,
Because you're you. Yeah.
challenged.
Right. That's it.
No, it's
We're going
interesting.
to give you a brand new,
Right.
retro-looking bike,
yeah.
and I think it works for people.
And
They're
that
always
is-
a little bit more.
yeah.
They're making more money on an RS
Yeah,
as
right.
opposed to the
Fuck, dude. The profit margin on a motorcycle like a Enfield 650, where you don't have to have a complicated thing on it. You're not fighting for a pound. You're not fighting for an ounce. You're not fighting for anything. If you think that chrome would make that bike cheaper to build, then by all means, fucking chrome, right? If you think that having, this shaped gas tank or that shaped gas tank, when you're shooting for retro, when retro is your design, destination, Jesus Christ, you don't have to make anything thin or light or sexy.
Right.
It can all just be like, oh yeah, well, this is a tribute to the 1953 Aramaki, Chimera or whatever. Yeah. And people are like, oh yeah, I see what you did there. No, we just made that shit up. You didn't even know what that was. So yeah.
You can't make it
Was
that
it-
shitty.
Yeah,
the bend on those headers is interesting
it is.
because it's like a reduced radius curve,
and they didn't have to fight to make that bend. So on a lot of motorcycles, to get the gases that are going out that way to go back that way, they're making some really tight turns, and they didn't have to on this. That's the radius of the top of that thing would be about a 2-foot circle. if you just chopped a piece of that out, chopped
Yeah,
30
well,
degrees
you
out of
look
that
at
circle.
It, like the top of it speeding the gases up, and then it just slides through the rest of that. I'm serious. Like
You're
that,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is when you have 1/4 of an airplane engine, right? So that's it. You don't have to work too hard.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to worry about your exhaust hitting your front
You don't.
wheel.
You don't. Right. Your exhaust isn't going to hit the
Nice
front wheel.
out
Yeah.
there, you know?
Right. Yeah. So you have a lot of freedom when you say, we're going to put the cylinders where your knees are supposed to go. Well, where do the knees go? You'll figure that out. Yeah.
Well, if you think about it though, too, like Harley's like, we're gonna put the motor like completely obscured by the front wheel, any
Right.
luggage that you have,
Yeah.
anything,
Right.
an air-cooled bike.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
kind of got it right.
Well,
if you
I
think
mean-
about it, and the shaft. There's no change in the power output. It's
The one
straight
thing
back.
that we all, that we love about BMWs and that we love about Honda Goldwings and we love about these motorcycles that have jugs just out in the wind is that we know that they're all getting the same kind of wind, right?
And who doesn't love jugs out in the wind?
Jugs in the wind.
Nobody's come up with the right angle. I mean, you've got the BMW as a boxer, so
Right.
now the cylinder they're in front of your feet. And this one, that's like a 45, so now it's in
Yeah.
front of your knee. You need like
Yeah.
the 30 degree.
Mrs.
Right.
H
Where they're
likes.
just sort of like
Keep the door closed when you play this
podcast.
podcast.
Hey, you're not wrong, man. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig it. So I thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so in last week's podcast, we discussed, and boy did we discuss all of these QJ motors, and I wrote a very sternly worded letter to SSR and said our podcast, who is clearly the think tank of motorcycle engineering in America,
The ignored.
The ultimate
think tank.
user group.
that our podcast thinks that you need to hang up this QJ motor horse shit and just call them Benellis.
Yeah, right.
Just call them fucking Benellis,
We
man.
had a detailed discussion.
You got a good name.
Bought that name now.
You bought that name, now use it.
So they said, sure, good idea. We're going to do that.
No, they said no. All right. They basically said, they didn't say no, they said, we'll get back to you later.
Stop the press.
Right. All right. So, just because we're going to talk about 4 motorcycles, and 4 motorcycles in particular. Why are we going to talk about them? Because I just got the dealer price sheet.
Oh,
Right.
all right.
So I got the dealer price sheet to dizzle. Okay. Now, here's the thing that we got to know.
So that's an iron 300.
You're not going to tell people what you're going to pay for.
You're right. So this is a Harley Davidson Iron 300
It really is.
built by QJ Motors, right?
You're going to take your price that you know you would have to pay for them and project an MSRP.
No, not at all. I'm going to give you the actual MSRP.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I'm going to give you, because it's released today, hot off the presses. And it's not published on their website yet, so don't bother going to look. But they're here today because they want the dealers to order them.
You heard it here first.
Right. Now,
And if you're a $20 listener,
Or Oscar, are you still there, Oscar? Oh,
he's gone. He's
I'm
gone.
here. I'm here.
he's still there.
I wasn't sleeping, honestly. I swear I wasn't sleeping.
I just
So-
hated myself.
So here's the game. The game is we're just going to talk real briefly, and I will give you any information that you might need to guess the retail price of this V-twin 300cc liquid cooled, fuel injected, 6-speed, 30 horsepower motorcycle called the SRV 300. If you're playing at home, you can look up QJ Motors SRV 300. That's the bike we're
4200.
talking about. Okay.
5,500.
All right. So SRV 300. We've heard bids in the office, bids in the room.
5,500.
5,500. John coming in hot at 5,500.
42.
4,200. Amen.
48.
Okay.
Oscar, what do you got?
You looking at one?
It's a Harley.
2,800.
2,800. Okay. So here we are. It almost hurts me to do this. I don't know if you guys can see the
I feel like
screen.
my number represents what other 300 cc, like Versys 300, and what's in that class.
Yeah.
Ba-bum.
Ba-bum. It's $5,399. Yeah. So the real problem with that is that it is it is $650 more than the Honda Rebel. So the Honda Rebel is $47.49. The Honda Rebel is $47.49.
You get an
Oh,
extra
Dude,
cylinder.
As we talked about last week, that's a hard sell, though. That's a hard sell. That much.
So, Chris, if you have a problem with your Honda Rebel, how far would you have to go to maybe get a part to fix that problem?
20 miles.
Yeah, 20 miles, right? 20 miles. Right now, we're the only dealer in, I think, all of goddamn Ohio that would be carrying this street vehicle, okay? And I mean, I love us, and I think we're great. But if you're in Columbus and this bike shits a little golden brick in your driveway one day, and you need a warranty service or you need a part or something, yeah, getting back into the game might not be so easy. Yep. And my logic has always been, who here at the table has ever heard of QJ Motor before?
Isn't that is that
Quang Jang?
Yeah,
right. Quang Jang.
Is that the same?
It is.
Well,
Yeah.
I've heard of them for a long time.
Right. So one fucking
I have two.
right.
Yeah.
But so if
Because they
you're
were
going
importing those like those.
sidecar rigs.
Yeah.
But if you're going into a dealership and you're going to be looking at a motorcycle, and you say to Johnny Salesman, "Hey, I'm interested in a 300cc motorcycle, entry level bike," and Johnny Salesman says, "I've got two for you. I've got a Honda Rebel 300, and I've got a QJ Motors SRV 300." Right off the tick.
That bike looks way better though.
Who's QJ, right? Who's QJ? How long have they been selling motorcycle in America?
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them. And then now the salesman's got to do a fucking song and dance about who QJ is. And I got to get out Wikipedia and flowcharts and all kinds of shit. Okay. You laugh. You fucking laugh. I do it every goddamn day. Do you know how long it took Americans to figure out that Kimco wasn't kimchi from Korea?
Probably a long time.
They still do it right now. I have
Really?
people come in and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm looking for one of them kimchi scooters." Really? Yeah, really? Yeah.
We ferment kimchi.
Yeah. Do you know
over
where
here.
this bike's
Your
from?
mother's kimchi.
Yeah. Get a guy in here, big long beard. Yeah. So do you know where this bike's from? Well, it's Korea, right? It's called Kimco. It's from Korea. What? What? Are you? I'm confused. So what? Moto
with the
Pecans
same
are from
letter.
Mexico
Yeah.
because it starts with an M? Come on. No offense to Oscar's people, but this is ridiculous. So if you're entering a market, nobody knows who you are. You don't enter the market by being $650 above the established item that everybody has been learning as an entry-level cruiser.
You come in low and then you raise your price.
That's exactly it. Once people can say QJ without giggling, right? Once people have an acknowledgement of your quality or your thing, but what you want people to be saying is, for $600 less than a Rebel, you get a V-twin, right? Where the Rebel's not. So
Plus, it looks way better.
it looks way
Didn't
better.
we literally say that? We said the only way this thing has a chance is if it comes in like 500 under the Rebel.
Damn straight.
We said that.
We said those exact fucking words.
The Rebel
I
looks
think it
like
was
a
used to
broken
you.
down horse.
And we acknowledge that certain
bad.
people over the age of 50 have a real fucking problem with the way the Rebel looks. But a lot of people under the age of 30 really like the way it looks. So if we're ever in a shootout and I say it looks stupid, but Hunter over there says it looks great, listen to Hunter.
Because he's going to be buying
He's going to
the
buy
boat,
one,
yeah.
and I'm not. All right? Yeah.
So Versys 300,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
a $5,800 bike.
Exactly. Right. And I didn't bring the Versys up because it's not a cruiser, so I didn't bring the Versys 300 into the shootout. But I did think that was kind of
So we would
interesting.
throw the CBR 300 at it.
Oh,
or a
John,
Ninja 400 at it and stuff.
John,
Yeah.
we're gonna get there. We're
Power
gonna get there.
Sports 360 has a
Oh, John, we're gonna get there.
Versus
Well,
X
the best one would
300,
be to send the Harley Davidson after.
$4,800 right now.
Harley
Okay.
Davidson going to ask for their
For a what?
rebadged.
That Versys 300.
Oh,
Exactly. So here we are looking at their SRK 400RR, which we all can at this table sitting here and agree and go, this is a CBR 300RR.
yeah.
Right? That's what this is. The SRK 400RR. We in this room, there's nothing that can exist on this motorcycle that would shock or surprise us. It is going to be exactly what it is. It is probably going to be a really, really nice replica of a CBR 400RR or CBR 300RR. It's going to be probably somewhere similar to like a Ninja 400 in a lot of ways, right? So guess what? Well, it's okay, John. You don't have to because I did that for you. So the SRK, we'll do the SRK 400. Let's do the SRK 400. Let's let's do the base model, not the fancy pants one. Let's do the base model first.
Not the pirate version.
Well, right, not the pirate version. We'll do the standard model, okay? This is good enough. All right, so once again, we're going to have the Name Your Price game on this bike. This is the SRK 400. For people who are concerned, it's basically a Street Fighter looking bike. It is not a fully fared machine. It is
6100.
okay,
No,
6100.
it was the Benelli 305, 306.
400 cc's,
That
Do your
was.
research,
41
bro.
horsepower.
I'm gonna say 54.
Okay, all right.
57.
SRK 400.
59.
SRK 400. SRK 400. All right.
I think it's more than it's
Survey
worth
says
to me, but
$52.99.
I was
I
close.
win.
You did.
good job, Chris.
$52.99.
2 out of 2. I'm going for triple jeopardy.
$52.99. Now, why is this a problem?
Because it's the same as an engine. Who's going to buy a QJ if they can buy a Ninja
Because
400?
an actual real Ninja 400 is the exact same price. Not only is the Ninja 400. Now the Ninja 400 is fully fared, right? So it's fully fared. It's the full deal. The Ninja Z400, which exactly looks just like this motorcycle.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ninja Z400.
Is this SRK 400 a single or a twin?
This is a 2-cylinder.
Okay.
Yes, this is a 2-cylinder, and
It's a parallel twin?
yes, it is. Yeah, it's a parallel twin. Yep. So that's a.
Well, the 300 is a V-twin.
And that
The
is
300 is a V-twin, and so I wanted to ask.
and
I
that
mean,
you know what, and that's a thing, because I do feel like the bike being I think the bike being a V twin does imply some extra cost to it.
Yeah.
Because building a V twin appears to me to be a lot more expensive than not, right? So
What's like the Transalp? Are you going to say is the new Transalp a V-twin or is it a parallel
Well,
twin?
I mean, it should be, right? So, okay, so as we can see, looking at a picture, anybody who wants to look at a picture of a Z400 motorcycle from Kawasaki, you realize instantly when you're looking at the picture of the Kawasaki that Kawasaki is what they were looking at when they penned up the
It
SRK.
also kind of looks like a BMW 310.
It's
GS.
not far off,
Yeah.
right? It's not far off. These are all legitimate things.
Yeah.
But again, I kind of come back to that same same problem where I go, okay, the Z400 is $100 more, and it says Kawasaki on the gas tank. The Yamaha MT-03, raise your hand if you think that's a great motorcycle, because I've ridden that motorcycle, and it is a great fucking motorcycle. The MT-03 is $300 less. And it's made by goddamn Yamaha.
Yeah.
Do you know how it's higher quality control than Yamaha?
Nobody.
Nobody.
God.
Yeah, well, not according to motorcycle industry warranty claims and customer satisfaction. Yamaha is number one with a bullet. So for $300 less, you can get an MT-03. Yeah. And we all know that the MT-03 motor is velvet. Okay, so enough of that. So, but everyone's saying, well, you're just comparing a 400 to a 300. Okay, chill. We're getting there. All right. So then we got to go to the fully fared, because the people that buy 400s, a lot of times they buy fully fared baby sport bikes, because that's the market. That's who they're marketing these bikes to. This is my first sport bike.
Yeah.
We all did it. We've all had them. I had a Ninja 250, right? We all
On the way here
made
today,
those things.
It was 58 degrees, and so all 12,000 of those guys were on Route 20 and 480.
Yes, they were. Absolutely. All right. So looking at that motorcycle, I'm going to make sure our friends at home get to see it. But this is the SRK 400 RR. Now, it's basically the same bike we were just looking at, but it's got the full fairing, right?
Okay, so what I don't get is, so they put RR on it.
Yes.
Is it a hotter?
Race
Is it-
replica? Race
yeah.
ready?
I mean, but is the engine any hotter than?
I'm glad you asked, because in the next chapter of this story, we're going to find out a lot about RR. So, if we are looking at this SRK 400 RR, the important things I want you to be aware of is it's 400 cc's. It's got 44 horsepower at 9,500 RPM and 27 torques. It's all normal stuff. It's all good stuff. It's what we expect to see.
You said 27 horsepower?
27 torques, 44 horsepowers.
Oh, that's actually pretty impressive.
So
Out of a 400.
you're right on, brother. Okay, and it is 412 pounds. Okay, hang in there.
We like the featherweights to stay under 400.
We would like to have a featherweight be a little bit of a feathery weight,
Little
right?
baby's got back.
All right. So here we go. So here's the deal. The deal is this Bad Mama Jamma is $5,799. Ooh, now that hurts. It weighs 412 pounds dry. Okay, the R3.
I said 58.
The R3, as far as I'm concerned, it's 320 cc's, give or take. The R3 has the same exact horse purse.
Huh.
The R3, though, weighs, well, at least 50 pounds less, because the R3 is weighed when it's wet. Gas, battery, oil, etc. So curb weight. So at $300 less. Holy shit, wait a second. I could, for $300 less than this SRK 400RR, I could have a motorcycle that has an actual motorcycle racing class I can go on the weekends and play around in. That's the R3. The R4, I'm sorry, the CBR 300RR, right? The CB, that thing is 33 horsepower. It's 361 wet. The CBR 300RR, which I've ridden, that's another great bike. The R3 is more my size. The 300, the CBR comes in a little small for me, but that's what that is. But the Ninja 400 is the one who steals the fucking day. The Ninja is $56.99 with ABS, and get an actual real Ninja 400 with 44 horsepower that weighs 370 wet. So instead of 412 dry, it weighs 370 wet. It's got the name on the side of the gas tank that I recognize. It's got everybody knows a Ninja.
Well,
right?
what about, and also Kawasaki just released their new 4-cylinder 400.
There we go. So now that's where we talk about the Kawasaki Ninja 400 RR.
Yeah.
So it actually has R's in its name that means something.
Yeah.
Because this bike's RRs mean
Whatever.
Right. Okay. But the Ninja 400 RR is 80 horsepower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And I think the
80
red line is like 16K.
16,000 RPM.
Well, it's a CB1.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that
80 horsepower.
the other thing too is resale.
No, it doesn't. What's that?
You have to look at resale too.
Which are those?
How much are those? Those are like 8+.
So all three of the bikes listed below this are going to have a better resale.
Of course they
and
will.
if you're considering this as your starter, squid bike,
I'll tell you what.
you should buy a bike that you could sell off and get better money for.
That'll
So-
be go ahead.
Okay, so let's just say you've had your fun now. You've enjoyed your QJ motor. And you put this up on Facebook. There is no category for QJ motor.
Other.
There is other. Thank you. Yeah, there is a category for Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha, etc.
Dodge Caravan.
Right.
Yeah, but if you don't
There's a picture
but most
of
of the
that.
kids that are going to
Yeah.
buy those are also the kids that are putting Honda badge out of them like 2 days later.
And hey,
Nobody's going to buy that.
but that's the point. And John's right. Nobody's going to
Well,
buy that.
not at that price.
Because
Yeah.
the only way you're going to buy this motorcycle is if you walk into my shop.
I could save $1,000 on that. Maybe.
Yes.
If you walk into my shop and I make you forget that you're a human, that make you forget that in the outside world you do what you're doing, and I am just right up in your business, and I am the world's greatest salesman, and I song you and I dance you to the point where I get your deposit.
or Honda continues to be Honda and all these other guys continue to be them, and they don't actually have any bikes.
That could
and
be it,
then
too.
all that's left are these things. Because like, how many Benellis did you sell?
Dude, people
because
are buying CF Motos right now because there's nothing else available.
Right.
Yeah.
So that might be if they actually have inventory.
Right.
But that could
You
give
don't
them
have to worry about Rebels though, because there's so many Rebels out there.
They'll never run out of Rebels.
I went
So,
into no seriously.
You go into a dealership right now,
There's Rebels.
they have Rebels.
Yeah,
They have
it's like the
Rebels.
Rebel factory.
Yeah. You might
must
be
have
able-
been snorting coke.
you might be able to get a discount on a
Spit down
Rebel.
Rebels like.
I went into a shop and I saw a leftover 22. I saw a leftover 22
after
Rebel.
a summer where there were no bikes available.
Nobody could get a bike at all.
And
This
that
is so
thing's
ugly
just
the dog
sitting
won't
there.
play with it. All right. That's my opinion. Okay. That's my opinion. It's not a fact. It's my opinion. That is not a fact. That is just my opinion. Okay. All right. So we've had our fun with that. So, we know that that bike exists. So we just have to acknowledge it's there and move away. Right. So then
Now you're scaring me with all these prices coming in so high. The new adventure bike has to be like 40 grand.
okay, Steve, I'm glad you asked.
40 grand.
The motorcycle in question is called the SRT 750X.
Yeah, it kind of gave me a moto boner.
It does give me a moto boner.
It looks like it's got
gold
buck
rims.
teeth. It's a schnozzle or whatever it is. It looks like it's got buck teeth.
Hey, look at the gas tank and the thing. It looks like a toucan. it looks like a fucking toucan.
It does look
No,
like a
it's-
toucan.
But its beak is like bent.
Yeah.
All right, so all you motorcycle fiends out there in the world, 750 cc's. It is a parallel twin.
Yeah.
It is putting out 75 horsepower in the 1 horsepower per, 10 or the 100 pounds per liter rule. Thank you. So this is this bike. This is the motorcycle. This is what it is. SRT 750. All right. Anyone like to wager on what the MSRP of this vehicle is?
Going by how expensive.
7,200.
Okay.
Dude, that seems light.
You don't have to justify it. You just have to give me a number.
8,500.
All right.
89.9.
Okay.
They've covered it.
They've covered it. All right. Very good. Very good. Done.
Over 8.
It is 85.99. So you guys are really fucking close.
86. Wow.
Really fucking close. 85.99. So 85.99 for this motorcycle. And you're kind of like, oh, it's a 750. It's 75 horsepower. The number that sticks with me is that 560 number.
Yeah.
Because I remember a motorcycle that we had recently called a Moto Guzzi Stelvio. And it weighed almost the exact same. 560 pounds.
Yeah.
And it's 1,200 cc's.
Yeah, it's a big... Yeah.
Big fucking kid, right? So a V-Strom. V-Strom is $9,104. It's literally $500 more. $505 more. You get a V-Strom.
Well, and they also had the V-Strom 800 this year.
We're not talking about that. I was going to bring that up,
Okay.
but it's not a fair comparison
Why not?
because it's an 800. And this is a 750. And if
800 is closer to
and-
750 than...
hold on, Steve, I'm already rubbing its dick in the dirt with the 650.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So how bad do we need to hurt him?
Just realistic, though. Like, if you're a dude out
Right.
there and you see 750, you're like, well, that's close to the 800.
Oh, I get it, baby.
You know?
I get it.
Yeah.
But how much do you really want to hurt him? Or do you just want to win? You just want to win. So V-Strom
once in a
650, 70 horsepower.
Yeah.
So only 5 horsepower left,
Yep.
less, but it saves 75 pounds.
Yeah, so
That's your 5 horsepower.
that bike's faster.
Much faster.
Yeah.
Right, much faster. So the V-Strom 650 with 65 pounds weight that it's not dragging around with it,
Right.
and a bargain basement price of $91.04. Well, who here can say anything bad about a fucking V-Strom? Because I can't. I've ridden them all over the goddamn place, and I've had them with 60,000 miles, and I've had them with 3,000 miles. And for all as I can say, they're the same bike.
There's a reason that there's like a dedicated group of guys that love
Sure
that
is.
bike.
Really
Not 'cause
easy
it
bike to
sucks.
own.
Yeah.
It's not because it sucks. Exactly. Okay, the Tenere. We all love a Tenere. Who doesn't love a Tenere? Again, it's not a 750. The Tenere is a 700. Doesn't need to be a 750, though, because it wins. 74 horsepower, 449 pounds. So now you're at 110 pounds difference. And different thing is, I could not find on the QJ whether they were weighing it dry or weighing it wet. So if you don't specify, you assume they're weighing it dry
Right.
because that's the more attractive number. And we could tell you that the TRK 502X that we had in here was a chunky monkey. It was a very heavy motorcycle for being a 500. All right. Well, the Tenere is $10,499. Oh, yeah, that's $2,000 more, friends. But that's a $2,000 I might want to spend. Now, Dan Kroenke's favorite motorcycle in the world,
And a very good motorcycle as
motorcycle,
well.
I will raise my hand and say it is a very good motorcycle. Power to weight ratio on that thing is dynamic. That's a Tiger 660. So a Tiger 660 is going to set you back $96.95. So $1,300 more. It's a Triumph. It has more horsepower and it weighs over 100 pounds less.
And it's so balanced and such a good
It's a scalpel.
riding bike. Yeah.
It is a fucking scalpel. We didn't look up the Versys 650 because we didn't want to hurt them.
8,800.
8,800. New Versys?
New version.
8,800. Okay.
And that's got 14 horsepower? Or what is it?
It's something like that. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, that's it. But then here's the rune. Like, here's the fucking wrinkle. I mean, everybody's jumping on John so bad about his verses.
Stink eye.
John, what's the horsepower on your Versys?
I think it's like 67.
I think it was 67. Yeah, exactly. So again, same price, same power, weighs a lot less. I'm taking the look. I'm gonna take the Tiger, and I'll pony up the extra $1,100. I'll take the V-Strom and pony up hardly anything extra at all.
And unless you plan on riding like off road 79% of the time, don't get the 10 ring.
Don't
Like,
get the 10
That's
ring.
a dirt bike with
Absolutely.
You know, it's not comfortable.
Absolutely. And the last one I threw in just for fun, the Honda NC750X, which is the DCT, which Honda does not come into these games cheap. No way. And it's new technology. So the Honda NC750X has only 58 horsepower. Has the same torque, though. I looked it up. But even with the DCT...
Same red line.
But even with the DCT, that fucking Honda is still 70 pounds lighter, and that's a wet rating versus a dry rating. So, and that's $93.99. So $800 more, you get a Honda badge on your motorcycle.
And
$800 more.
Can you find parts for that?
Yeah, you can.
But here's the thing, too.
They might deliver.
So that bike, you say, what's the weight? 560 pounds.
560 pounds.
But the way they're showing it,
Yeah.
90% of adventure rider dudes would never ride. Because you're going to add crash bars, you're going to add racks.
And the same can be said true for all these bikes. All of these bikes are luggage whores.
That weighs more than an Africa Twin.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
this
a heavy
is
fucking bike. It is a very heavy
Once
bike.
you're doing 2 miles an hour, it's not
No,
heavy
it's not
anymore.
bad, but if you're off-road and you stop,
Yeah.
it's heavy quick.
So that was my.
I don't have that problem with the Versys.
No, you don't have the problem.
You can't go off road.
John, you don't have a problem with any motorcycle. You can just manhandle them. It doesn't count.
And you could shoot clays with one arm.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last one on the hit parade.
Okay, enough telling me how wonderful I am.
Yes, exactly. Well, that was your birthday last week.
Happy
We sucked your
birthday,
dick last
John.
week.
For the second week in a row.
All right. So here we have don't call it the Benelli TNT 135 because it's not. It isn't a Benelli TNT 135. It just has the exact same spec sheet.
But you know what? We got to find out how much those exhausts are because that's kind of cool.
Okay. Yeah. There we go.
I do a little sliding over the exhaust.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Well, your exhaust is the coolest.
I haven't had a problem.
Yeah, space shuttle. Man. Look at it.
I haven't had a problem with the exhaust on the TNT 135 though.
No, me neither.
It's fine.
No, it's just cool looking though.
Okay. Yeah.
Hoff, he's had some bad exhaust today, though.
Oh yeah. I have
I'm glad
not.
I'm over here.
Okay. So
Today I've been cool.
Just for fun, I thought it'd be nice to remind folks that the TNT 135 is $3,199. $3,199.
Well worth every penny.
3,200 bones. So how much did they charge for the SRF 135?
Same price.
Nope, it's $100 less, just to make shit confusing. So just to be a pain in my dick in the showroom, the bike that is a Benelli 135 and the Benelli 135 are not the same price. So you could have a Benelli 135. Oh, and the Benelli 135 comes in red, white, black, and green. This comes in red, white, and green.
Oh, great.
Yeah, right. So, okay. So that's it. It's a
See,
one.
we're not
How
capping.
do you sell it then? Like, so you have them two sitting there, right?
Yes. How do you sell this bike?
How do you sell the
How do
other
you
one?
sell
Well,
this
no,
bike?
they're going to take that one because it's cheaper.
No, but you've heard of Benelli. What's
But
it
if they're
worth to you?
But when the kid says, "What's the difference between these two?" and you say nothing,
And I sit there and
the
go,
name, yeah,
have at it, kid. $100 difference.
yeah,
$100 difference.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe give me the one that says Benelli on the gas tank.
I mean, I would take that, but I'm just saying, like a lot of the cheap kids, they're just going to take whatever's cheaper.
It's $100. You know what? Any kid who's buying this bike, I hate to say it, is getting some really shitty 26% financing. That's what we sell. The people who buy this bike are old white men that have 6 motorcycles already,
Yeah.
present company included,
Yep.
right? And they pay for them cash. And then the other types are kids that are literally like, okay, so how can I have 3 cosigners? Yeah. Yeah. And then they're getting these. When I see some of these loans and I'm like, oh my God, Timmy, you're going to pay $11,000 for this motorcycle by the time you pay this thing
That's
off.
terrible.
You poor thing.
You poor bastard. So that's the story.
Bend over, Tim.
So I'm going to go to the AIM booth and have to talk with these guys and be like, well, you know, you could have given me a fighting chance.
Yeah.
by calling them all Benellis, and I wouldn't have to do the what's a QJ song and dance.
So as a dealer,
Yeah.
are they making you like? Can you just stay Benelli, or do you have to do this?
I don't want you to read this out loud, but I just want you to be aware of the numbers that are on that sheet. Okay? That's my minimum order. Okay? So that's my minimum order. So for the
$8.
yeah, so that's my minimum order. So to be a QJ dealer and to have these bikes in my showroom, and they're going to start trickling in over the next few months.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where you're like, so you've never met me, okay, cool, and we've never done anything before, no, and I have a family name that you don't recognize, no, that's okay, fair enough, all right, but I'm gonna avail you of my services, okay, but you gotta pay about $100,000 up front.
Yeah. Say who?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's weird.
whose dick did you borrow? You're swinging it around like you own it.
Yeah.
But that is a very, very thing. Like these guys are like, well, we're not here to make it. We're not here to mess around. Yes, you are. Yeah. You absolutely are. You're going to flood dealers with these things, and dealers are going to, in 6 months when the flooring, 3 months when the flooring comes due, dealers are going to get away from these things like hepatitis.
Yeah, for that price. Yeah, it's just
Yeah. They're going to be like, oh, that was a mistake.
So in
What's the difference if they sell Benellis? They're just going to produce all
the
Benellis.
same
I mean, it's the same
fucking
bike.
company.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So why don't they just sell all Benellis?
So let me ask you this: do you think in a year, do you think that they're going to do as bad as we think they're going to do at the prices they are, and they're going to put them at the prices they said
they should have been at? They're going to correct the pricing, but then the dealer's already got $80,000 worth of inventory on their floor that they just choked on a dick.
Nobody's going to give up after a year.
Right. Nobody's going to go up after a year's first things, too. But here's the other thing. You go to your dealership right now and buy an Oldsmobile. They didn't need it. It was excessive. They didn't need to keep Oldsmobile going. There are plenty of car brands and car marks.
The same company had the same.
This is the thing.
Five marks.
Five
We
different
didn't-
badges.
We didn't, and it didn't need to be that way. Right? And if you could just roll out and just be like, okay, we are, if every fucking Chevrolet pickup truck was a GMC, I think we'd all be cool with that. Right?
But do you think so? Did they bend this dude over and make him do this? Because it seems to me that for him to promote his intellectual property of Benelli, your SSR dude, the guy who owns Benelli here.
No, Benelli is owned by QJ.
Oh, so
remember that in the pyramid, the Chinese are always at the top.
But I thought that the dude
So
in the States doesn't
all
have
he
the
does
license
is-
to Benelli. He just or does he like?
He doesn't even open the boxes, Steve. The guy in the United States.
But like Pez, I watched that Pez.
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
Only
yeah.
one dude was allowed to import Pez, right?
Yeah.
So it's like he the only guy that's allowed to import the SSR.
He may have an exclusivity contract with Benelli with QJ.
Okay.
He may. He might.
Right.
But we've also seen that not happen.
So what they're saying is
same way
like you're
before.
not going to get those unless you take all these to him.
Well, this is that situation where this is a bad decision. This is somebody saying, ego gets in the way. Benelli, well, if you'll buy Benelli, then you'll buy the company that owns Benelli. Except if the company that owns Benelli is called QJ and nobody's ever fucking heard of them.
Right.
So, it's the major league and they're reading off the roster and they're like,
the same bikes, but Benelli uses lock washers. That's why you pay that extra $100.
I've never heard of these fucking guys. Right. And that's a big part of the American owning experience is I've never heard of these fucking guys. Right?
I get it.
And if we show up and we're all having fun and we're going to shoot clay birds, right? And John busts out with a Hachacha 12 gauge, and we're like, what the fuck is a Hachacha? Who's ever heard of that? Right. Well, they're actually the company that owns Savage, and they're actually the company that owns Ithaca, and they're actually the company that bought so-and-so, so-and-so. And we all buy the shotguns that say Savage or Ithaca or whatever on them, but now they said, okay, you guys have been buying our Savages and our Ithacas for the past 10 years.
Yeah, but I bought the Hachacha for an extra $100.
Now, exactly.
Boo.
Nobody's going to spend an extra $100 to have the Hachacha logo
It's
on
the
their
wrong
shotgun.
way. It would make sense if it was $1,000 cheaper.
I got it at $100. It's $100 less than
Exactly. That's the rule. If John shows up with that shotgun and it's a Hachacha, then he's going to be reverse selling me that gun. It had better be $100 cheaper than the Savage. It had better be $100 cheaper than the Ithaca.
To your point, I just found out about this today because I'm going down this rabbit hole of all my instruments, right? And so there's guys right now that are importing these things, and they're called the Lure, and they're about $600, and they set them up and do it. Well, the same thing. The company that makes all of them started selling them, but they're selling them for $300 cheaper. And they're
What?
But they're doing it right.
Yeah.
They're saying, like, we don't set them up, we don't do this,
No.
but here's the same quality.
Right.
So, like, again, if these dudes would have come in, just like you're saying, $1,000 cheaper, it
What?
would make fucking sense.
Well, you know what I think they're trying to do? I think they're floating a new balloon in marketing.
That's going to be a whole new thing. Is like, hey, let me just float this idea past you.
Yeah.
Wait a second. You're a Chinese company.
But
It's a
Steve,
new way for them to come over. They're just gonna, like,
but Steve,
I
I think ultimately it'll be shot down.
That's the only way they're going to get the cost of shipping down. Because we've been paying a surcharge on freight. We should just balloon the fuckers
that's
over.
what
I don't know, that would make sense. I mean, just throw them on the spy balloons
Yeah.
and then drop them when you get over each dealership. I mean, they're going over across the whole country anyway.
Exactly.
close. It's within 3 states. Let her rip.
Let her rip. So I did want to. You remember last week when we talked about what a terrible idea motorcycle rental was?
Yeah.
Because Chris was only going to get $23 a day for John to blow his motorcycle up.
Oh, yeah.
It's so true, but it's like you're like, ouch.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one of our Patreons, and we've mentioned them before. Fox Moto Rent up in Kanukistan. All right. So after hearing about the new level of Patreon, I thought, well, we're almost there anyway. The least we can do is bump it a little to lightly sponsor the podcast. Cool. I'd been thinking about,
you.
Thank you.
And he's at the fucking legend level all of a sudden.
Fukin.
The fucking legend. But here we go. I'd been thinking about bumping it anyways after hearing all the kind words in a previous podcast about Fox Moto Rent. After I bumped it last time. See, pay to play.
Yeah,
Just a
yeah.
little bit. Okay. So I love listening to the podcast and backup episodes while I work alone at the other part of the business that actually turns a consistent profit and allows us to have a motorcycle business. When I listen to all the back and forth and camaraderie between you guys, I imagine this is what it's like having friends.
Wrong.
No, we're not laughing with you.
Maybe one day, if we rent enough bikes, we will be able to afford to be an actual sponsor. Oh, and by the way, I remember you making a comment about rental costs. Remember, we are in Canada, so those prices are in Canadian dollars, which aren't worth fuck all. Judging by the $20 Patreon costing $29 Canadian, damn.
Whoa.
I'd say that would translate to paying an American a 30% discount. He's right. Absolutely. Anyway, thank you guys for keeping me company at work, and I guess I'll talk to you in 6 months when the benefits kick in, and I'll tell you the story of when my wife convinced me to sell our rental house after too many nightmare tenants. And I, in turn, convinced her that in these volatile investment markets, where if something does really well, you get rewarded by getting to give half to the government, it made sense to invest $300,000 of profit from the sale of our rental house and spend it all on motorcycles to open a motorcycle rental company, which makes motorcycling a tax deduction. Probably
Smart.
the world's best
Okay.
wife.
Okay.
Despite being in Canada, I made sure to provide the address for the USA-based freight forwarder that we use that brings parcels to the airport where we can clear them through customs ourselves so that I will hopefully be able to enjoy the other benefits when we finish probation. Thanks for all that you guys do to make the world a better place. And he says, I consent.
I like this guy.
Todd and Kay from
Well, the
Fox.
consensus is that you're an all right
Consensus,
guy.
you're all right. That's Todd and Kay from Fox Motorcycle Rentals.
Hell yeah.
So if you find yourself in Canada, then you should avail
think
yourself
this
of a
sounds like
rental
a
motorcycle.
destination.
It does.
Maybe we should do this.
Maybe we should.
What kind of, is it off-road bikes or on-road bikes he's renting?
Well, you know what? I
You don't
wonder
have
if
a
I
good
could
track
find that
record
out.
Of getting across the border, dude.
Look it up in your machine.
My machine has Oscar.
Oh, it's got Oscar on it. Yeah, here we go. Fox Motorcycle
Oscar,
Rental.
Oscar.
Where's it located?
You're still there.
He's still there. Okay.
I'm still here.
So Fox Motorcycle Rentals.
I give consent.
Oh, shit. They got everything.
They've got a ton of motorcycles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they're in British Columbia. So they're in Sydney, BC.
That's a little far
See,
left.
and here's the, and compared to what we were talking about last week,
Dude, they're on Victoria.
yeah, that's
They're on
awesome.
Victoria Island. That is beautiful. The only thing that would have made my trip to Victoria Island better would have been if I had a motorcycle to rent while I was there. Damn.
Now you have a chance to do it.
Well,
when
you
you
can
go
do
back.
the ferries are fantastic.
But
yeah.
this is a different, like, so
Is it
last week
urban
we were
ferries
talking about
now?
renting your bike, which, like, that's stupid. But this is like, when it's a business bike, that's different. He is not emotionally attached to these bikes. Like somebody taking your bike and just ass raping it outside.
You can rent a Pan America.
Yeah.
You can rent
I don't want
Africa
him to
Tween.
ass rape my
Right?
anus.
Yeah, come on. But
I mean, and I would say that the DTC would be the thing to rent somebody.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. Of
Because
course.
I don't think any asshole could blow that up.
No, I don't think so. I think
No,
that
and
Honda
less
wouldn't let you.
accidental wheelies and all kinds of shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, most modern bikes have a rev limiter. It's really hard to blow.
No, but I mean, just the
That's true.
clutching and everything. They don't have to do anything. They could just twist and go.
Yeah, I totally agree. So let's go ahead and let's pretend like we're going to rent this motorcycle and see what he's going to cost us. Because we did this last week and it got a little scary.
Yeah.
Fuck, and she got fast.
Went a little far north.
Real far north, real fast. So to rent one of these bad boys for, let's take a look. We're going to be renting this thing for, what would we say, 7 days, 7 days option. It will not let us not take the loss damage waiver. So we have to take $234 worth of insurance.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, me
Okay?
too.
Yeah. Again. So then there's $71 of GST tax. If you're traveling in Canada, remember to get your GST tax back, folks. That's your money. All right. So then that would be $1,499, about $220 a day. If you're doing
What's
seems
it?
a lot less than
GST, you
last
said?
week.
Government sucks tax?
Yeah, GST. Yeah, it's a GST tax. So the GST tax, let's see if they add another one. Because remember, there was a big service charge last week we looked at. So one of them had a real big service charge. This one doesn't. This one does not. So this one is, in fact,
cool.
this one is, in fact, $14.99. And that's for
Is that
17,
Kentucky?
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. You know what? Yeah, okay. That's a full 7-day rental. That's a week-long rental.
So in 6 or not 6 weeks, but in, say, 7 or 8 weeks, you have
How
that
much
bike paid
is
for.
$1,499 Canadian worth in U.S.? That's $1,114.
See, if you're on vacation, that's a
$214 a
What do you
day.
get when you cross
$214 a
a
day.
fox with a tanuki?
A Fanuki.
Fanuki.
A Fanuki. But anyway, that's what it comes down to.
that's not that bad.
So there you go. Have at it. But the location there, Victoria.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. So yeah, that's a good place to rent a motorcycle. I approve of that shit. Anybody else got anything else?
Nothing spectacular.
This is the last time I'm going to check in prior to the AIM Expo.
Yeah.
So next week. Y'all are without me, man.
So what are the specifics that you're going to go for? What are you, like, you're going to meet with the
I'm
the
going to
boys?
talk to a couple of our distributors.
Sure.
Some of these guys need a talking to, if you know what I mean.
Are you gonna be with Keanu Reeves and maybe pick up a couple
Arches?
arches?
I'm going to sign for fucking
I
Arches.
want you to be a disruptor.
I might have to be a little bit of a disruptive influence. You guys have seen kind of just the homework I did about this one particular brand. And the other thing that sucks about it is they're not even rewarding the dealers who are going to do this with a good margin. So they're not even saying, okay, you got to hold your nose and sell this thing, but at least we're going to give you 20 points or something on the back end. And they're not. They're just not. So there are great products that we sell that are fucking wonderful products that we get a better margin on than these things do.
Right.
So, and they have names people recognize, so.
That's sad, man.
Yeah, I don't
They're
have
probably
to.
good bikes.
I don't have to do a song and dance in my shop and explain to people how good a Piaggio is.
Right.
I don't need to do a song and dance in my shop and explain to people who are looking at scooters how good a Buddy is.
Well, it's really hard when
Yeah.
you have to start a sales pitch with, like, these aren't like the other Chinese bikes. you've heard
Yeah,
of.
that's
Right?
that's the
Yeah.
toughest thing is you're like, so I know you've heard about some Chinese things.
This is not them. Like,
Yeah,
You're
right.
already starting off
You're
on the,
already.
"Ah."
Yeah. You're already on your back foot going into
Yeah.
this situation. It's pretty ugly, but it is absolutely the case. Hey, Oscar, have you had a chance to get to the foundation up there yet?
Hello.
Chance of what?
Have you gone to the foundation Tiki Bar yet?
No, not yet. Not yet.
See?
Still on the list.
Okay, man, that's going to be our group trip. We're coming up there. We're going to invade your world and do a podcast in Milwaukee.
And is
Fuck yeah.
that other bike running yet? Your rabbit? What was that thing?
No. At
Jesus
least I got a spot in the garage for it. That's the first I've gotten.
Slacking. You're slacking.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
we checked out your new house. So we were once you sent out your new address to all of us.
Yeah.
Renee and I were cyber stalking you from Cleveland Moto. You've gone from a cute little house with a cute little garage and a cute little neighborhood to another cute little house and a cute little garage and a cute little neighborhood. Your world hasn't changed a whole lot.
No,
Oh,
no.
I miss you, cute little Oscar.
Other than being here. But yeah, I went to Tiki Underground yesterday in their new building in Cuyahoga Falls. Holy shit, is it nice?
I heard
You
really
guys
good
gotta
things.
go. You gotta go. The inside of it looks like you're inside a pirate ship.
Wow.
So it's got portholes and stuff.
You posted a picture of the pisser.
Yeah.
That's
That
kind of
was
what the bar
hilarious.
over there kind of feels like.
Yeah.
With the little light bulb sconce.
Yeah, it's cool.
Kind of like being inside, like
Inside a
the
ship.
captain's- The captain's den.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's really, really cool.
wanna see it.
So I'm excited about it. Yeah. So got to get down there. You know, the problem is it's a 36-minute drive, maybe 42-minute drive from there to Porco.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
sorry.
oof.
Whoa, man. Getting to Cuyahoga Falls is not the challenge. It's getting from Cuyahoga Falls back to Porco because you can't not go to Porco because it's on the way.
Right.
Right. I mean, you might have an advantage.
Circuitously.
I was gonna
Yes.
say, like for me, I could leave Summit and go right.
Yes,
to
you could
Tiki
go straight to Tiki Underground. You could go from your job right to there. No problem. So I brought their menu back so we could look at their menu later because it's a real aggressive menu. So real
Yeah, Oscar,
adventurous
you got to
menu.
send me a picture of yourself sitting because I'm going to put you in the chair over here when we do the video.
You're going to put him in like between two ferns?
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to have just a little substitute Oscar that just slides into place when you need him. Nice.
Still there.
So
We
that's
need a
cool.
hologram generator.
Yes, a hologram Oscar. That's cool. Well, that's about it. That's all I got. I don't think anybody else got any more hate mail. That's pretty decent. I'm pretty okay with that.
And let's just,
Go ahead.
let's just say thank you again to all of our Patreon listeners.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate you. We like that, knowing that people out there listening to us.
Yeah.
And giving us a little donation helps out with pizzas.
This is, I mean, every day
Keep the mail coming.
we eat food, we drink drinks, we do this, but Mid-Ohio is where we pay the bills. So Mid-Ohio is not cheap for us to do, whether it's the camping spots or whether it's the booth or whatever, those things add up and they come at you fast. They come at you hard and heavy. We can sneak in on, we can kind of, the little media pass goes a long way. That helps us individually, but the whole organization, yeah, we ripped through some stuff at Mid-Ohio. So,
I forgot. I do have a tiny little story.
yeah.
So I have a friend in Philly. He's from Cleveland originally and moved out there many years ago. And he's had he lives in Fishtown out there. He's got a pocket of a bunch of basically us, but they're into roller skating and not bicycles. But a couple of the guys are into motorcycles. And a bunch of years ago, a guy had a Norton and blew the motor up. And
Okay.
he had a Harley Davidson. He said, I wonder if the Harley Davidson motor would fit into the Norton frame. And he shoved it in there, and it became like the Nortonster or something like that, right? And it's pretty badass looking, and it's pretty cool. And he ended up selling it.
Yeah.
And then like 10 years later, he was like, God damn, I missed that fucking bike so bad. He was looking. If you go to my Facebook page, I did
Yeah.
post a picture of it.
Okay.
You can see the bike. But so he went for like several years of looking for this thing.
Okay.
And he fucking got it back. He found it.
He found his
and it
his
was-
actual motorcycle.
And except for the pipes in the back that have been changed, everything else is exactly how he left it and everything.
The Nordster.
The Nordster.
the Nordster.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool. I am gonna find it, guys. I'm
Yeah,
working on it. Give me a
yeah.
second. All right.
It's I post a lot, so.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Jesus
Because
Christ.
when I render, I got nothing to do. I'm sitting there watching a video render, and it's just like, fucking go away. Keep going down.
Man, yeah, you do post a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
No,
you're
that was
kind
the
of-
bench shock.
kind of a
Keep going. There you go. Keep
full-time-
going. Keep going. Hold on. There's-
Full-time Facebooker
Oh,
here.
keep going. One more down.
One more down.
Keep going.
That's not one more down.
That's only part of what you posted today.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Okay, there it is.
So that's it.
That is kind of cool,
It's
man.
kind of cool, right?
That's kind of a cool motorcycle.
So yeah, that dude, he sold it. Then years.
And that is absolutely a Norton featherbed frame.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's neat. With a Norton with a big old fucking sporty motor in it.
Yeah.
1200 motor.
But he said that those pipes were not what he had on that bike, and he thinks it ruined.
No, the cocktail shakers. Yeah, I see where they were going with like the whole Stort's flat tracker looking
Sure,
thing.
sure, sure, yeah.
I get that. Those pipes are definitely not. Yeah,
See, never give up. You never know.
never fucking give up. That's badass. He got his bike back. But yeah, that's neat. Yeah, and that's that Nordster's it's pretty cool looking. I wish I know he's got it strapped into the truck for, moving purposes and everything else. But I would like to see it at its normal ride height.
Yeah,
because like right now that front end squeezed down, but it looks like there's some decent air underneath it when it's set up.
It's done well. Like if you
It
look,
is done
like
well.
the back tail piece is actually the right length.
It's kind of a perfect cafe racer.
Yeah.
It really is. That's cool. That's a really pretty bike. Yeah.
So under the heading of not giving up,
Yeah.
I did find a photo of my dad
You did.
on his Norton.
Okay. All right.
And,
did you put it on your Facey books?
I did.
Oh, you did. All right. So we're going there next. Yeah. All right. That's cool.
What? No joke?
You want a joke?
Always wanted
You
a
have
joke.
a joke?
If you brought a joke, bring out the joke.
So this is the Wayback Machine. Prince Charles is driving around the lands, the grounds, and runs over one of the Queen's Pembroke corgis. Jumps out of the car, looks at the dog, and it's just squished all this shit. And while he's sitting down there, he's sitting on a bottle. He picks up the bottle and he rubs the bottle, and Jeannie comes out. Jeannie says, "You get one wish." The guy says, "Man, I got to get this dog back alive." And the genie looks at the dog and says, "No." He says, "What else you got?" He pulls two pictures out of his pocket. One is of his long dead wife, Diana. It says she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Pulls a second picture out and said, "This is Camilla. My wish is make Camilla look like Diana." Jeannie looks at both pictures back and forth, and says, "Let's take another look at that dog."
I got one. A priest, a rabbit, and a Hare Krishna walk into
A rabbit?
bar.
Rabbit.
And the bartender says, "Hey, man, you drinking anything?" He goes, "No, man." He goes, "I'm not even supposed to be here, but thanks to autocorrect, here I am."
Earlier when I conjured up the name of the Aramaki motorcycle, this was the motorcycle that I was referring
shit.
to. Yeah.
That's got a
that's
schnovel.
cool.
That has to be the first schnovel ever put on a fucking motorcycle.
Yeah. So I mean, not everything Aramaki did was just rebadged for Harley Davidson. They had some cool shit.
That is neat.
It's a cool looking bike.
It looks like
yeah.
a jet. Is that a rotary motor, or is they just
No, it's
make it look
it's
like that?
an overhead valve motor, but they just put a big cooling shroud around it to keep all that nasty cold air away from it.
Yeah.
It is it's an air cooled motorcycle
It's like
with a heating shroud. So they did everything in this motorcycle they could to keep the wind from getting to the heat.
Yeah, it seems like
They
it.
really
Yeah.
did.
Well, you wanted to go super critical.
Yes, dude needed to go
Dude,
super
that kind of
critical.
looks like when you tell a 7-year-old to draw a motorcycle.
That's fucking beautiful, man. I don't care. It's gorgeous. I think it's a beautiful bike. All right, so back to Mr. Smith and his grandfather. Right? Father?
Yeah.
Okay, father.
That's Frank Smith.
Frank Smith. I'm going to let that season for a second so the guys at home can see it. There's Frank Smith. So is he pilot or passenger on that one?
Pilot.
He's pilot. Okay, and who's on the back?
That's Uncle Jack.
Uncle Jack.
Yep. So Uncle Jack was military in Germany, had leave or whatever, and went down to see. So he was in Western Germany, and went down to see his brother down in Morocco.
Okay.
So they went riding.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. That's a great picture. Holy shit, that is a
It
great
looks like,
picture.
like behind him, Indiana Jones might be there.
And yes, yeah.
what I mean?
That,
So
What do you think of the
Looks like
foot?
these two are ready to start a rebellion.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the footwear on my dad?
I like the sandals, right? Because you're in Morocco. But I also
Who wears sandals riding the motorcycle?
I do. I mean, again, people know it's
Oh, I
Mid
stand
Ohio. I'll
corrected.
do whatever the hell whatever we want. But lately, I've been wearing a lot of Crocs.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, you have come to Jesus moment. I've had the come to Jesus moment with Crocs. When my mom died, she left 2 pairs of Crocs in the house, and my sister thought it'd be hilarious to take those Crocs that I made fun of from the day I saw my mom with them, and she stuffed them in my car so that when I got home, she stuffed them in the back of my truck. So when I got home and I was emptying my truck later on, find mom's Crocs. And you know how I am, it took a few days.
Sure.
So it took a few days, and there's mom's Crocs. All right. Well, mom's a big woman, so mom and I have the same size shoe, right? And so I was like, okay. I was going out in the
You're
yard.
going to take the garbage out one time.
That's exactly right.
And
It was like walking on clouds. But it had a strap, so they didn't just flip off your feet like flip-flops.
Yeah.
And it
you
didn't
could almost run in them.
and it didn't burn all the skin out from between your two big toes like a flip-flop does.
No, I
Yeah.
During the summer, I live in those fucking
And
things.
I couldn't believe how good they were. And so then I'm watching, a buddy through a buddy that's been over in Ukraine for 7 months as a volunteer.
Wow.
And he goes, I'm going to give you a list of all the things that you should take with you. And I'm going to give you a list of all the things you should not ever take with you if you're going to fight in a war. And he proceeds to lay out a beautiful list of the things that he took with him, some of which he needed, some of which he did not need. And he's like, ultimately, he goes, you're going to wear the same uniform for about 6 months. So don't take extra uniforms. Take polypropylene underwear, take fleeces, take all your layers. But you're not going to need to be carrying a bag with 2 extra pairs of BDU pants, 2 extra BDU shirts, and all that extra shit. And you're going to think that you want to have 2 pairs of boots because everybody in the Army knows 2 pairs of boots, one for Tuesday, Wednesday, you rotate, right? He goes, you don't want to carry 2 pairs of boots. Boots are heavy. So he's like, so for 8, 12, 16 hours a day, you're wearing these boots. But as soon as you get those boots off your feet,
Croc time.
you better you can't be walking around barefoot in a place that is like where broken glass and shrapnel goes to die.
Right.
There is no part of Ukraine where they're at that isn't covered in broken glass and shrapnel and shit. So you need Crocs. Right. He goes, then when somebody calls in an air raid for incoming, mortars or what have you, then you can run out of the tent or wherever you're at. You can get into your hole, your trench, without putting your boots back on because Crocs won't fly off your feet the way flip-flops will. Right. So the guys that are previous, like me, I've been deployed. I know that shower shoes is what the Army calls them. We don't call them flip-flops. Right. But shower shoes, they pack flat. You can put them anywhere. They act as a good insulator in your rucksack to keep the tension off your back. Yeah. Like shower shoes work really good for a lot of things, but you can't run in them. No. There is no sprinting.
When they go,
no, sprint. Yeah, but you sprint, and the shoes stay right there, right where they were.
Yeah, right.
And if you do try to do anything like kick it out, they're gone, and you could really get hurt.
We need to specially develop some combat Crocs that.
So my mom left me 2 pair of Crocs. She left me 1 pair of normal Crocs, which are the foamy foam ones, and then she left me 1 pair of safety Crocs that is made of a heavier gauge of a rubber that can take a hit. Like you can actually accidentally kick the door. I don't mow the lawn with them or anything. I'm not trusting them that much yet.
I do too.
run the snowblower with them?
Dude, I did. My new Crocs
John's
have
feet look like
fake
this.
fur in them.
he has no toes.
Faux fur, yeah.
So, kind of paying attention to my buddy's video, I kind of got this idea about first aid kits. Okay. Wow. And I'm going to put some information in the show notes about this. But what I ordered here is basically the mil-spec carrier, the first aid carrier that everybody should have. If you're deployed or you're going to be anywhere where you might get motorcycle tries to penetrate your asshole with the seats that's not there. Had we had this with us at hand,
right,
we would have never been able to find it.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
We would have known it was there. It's got to be somewhere. Oh, fuck it. Just let me look at it. Gloves, schmubs. Give me a bottle of bourbon to pour on this.
Oh, you're so right. Okay, so I do want to pull this up just so you can see.
Here's a piece of Phil in your face.
Fucker.
Oh, it's not wrong. Oh, so man. this high speed low drag device
break it down
is $50, right? So $50.
Oh, really?
Yeah, $50.
That's completely reasonable.
Now there's some things in here that you can buy on your own, and I do recommend you buy them on your own.
Please tell me there's 3 ampules of morphine.
No. There's a very sharp knife.
You just can't buy morphine anymore.
Right. So the first thing that people like that comes in this kit is a switchblade. So you get a nice like low quality switchblade knife. Yeah, but you get a low quality switchblade knife, but it does have a fire starter on the end of it. Yeah. Right? That's the world's worst whistle.
It'll work.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, we're not going to try that too much. But anyway, there is a fire starter, flint and steel, built into the knife. Okay, who gives a shit about that? That's weird. Okay. But there is a goddamn good pair of surgical scissors in there that will cut through a seatbelt, no problem. Yeah, no problem. $50. $50, you get all this shit. Okay, this is called an Israeli bandage. So hemostatic care, hemostatic means you got to stop the blood, right? We're not going to open this up because these are $6 a piece.
Sure.
But
And they might sort of be sterile.
they are. That's the whole game plan, right? So I'll pass it around. You guys don't open it. Okay. If you open it, we'll get to cut you and then put it on there to show you how good it stops the blood. Yeah. This works as a compression bandage. So inside of here is also a thing called a compression assist or a pressure bar. It's a plastic bar in there so that when you've got a gaping wound, I can put that over where the wound is and it will make a pressure dressing. And you wrap these around. They're self-adhesive to a certain degree. It works really well. And if you have a sucking chest wound, then you can use the plastic part of the package to go there to keep that from sucking. Okay? There's several different types of gauze in here, which is fine. Q-tips, that shit is clutch, especially the ones with the wooden sticks. But here's the cool thing, and this is something that I have needed myself personally. That's a splint. I know it looks like it's rolled up, but it's actually a splint. And you roll this out, and it is form-fitting. You can roll this out, and it will contour or conform to the broken part of your body. So then you can make a leg splint or an arm splint or a wrist splint out of this thing. And it fits in here. Okay.
Too bad you couldn't just like wet it and then have it get hard like a cast.
Well, this has a certain... When you got one on, you'll know it. Yeah. But in here, amongst other things that are like, your typical sewing kit, but one of the big items that we talk about all the time is a tourniquet. And these tourniquets, some people say always have 2 or 3 of them, but really we're not gung-ho. We're not getting shot up out here. Just one tourniquet. If you're not sure how to use them, they have a little thing called a windlass in there, a windlass if you're a sailor, right? If you know about boats. Basically, you take this thing, you put it around the affected area. Like if you have if your hand's not there, you put it up higher than your hand. And then you wrap the strap around it, and then you crank the stick, and you crank the stick, and you pop it in there. It's got a little spot. You can write the time on it, and there is a Sharpie marker inside the kit. So that's the use of tourniquets now has changed battlefield survivability and also EMT type survivability. Sure. When you've got something that's bleeding so bad that you can't stop it, it is time, right? And that's the thing. And it does not mean that they're going to be an amputation. Tourniquet used to equal amputation. That's absolutely not the case. Right. Right. There's not one, but 2 emergency Mylar blankets in here. I think that's excessive, but good for you. There's 2 triangular bandages, which you can use as slings, right? So that's all in here. There's one of these, if you're afraid of getting to know people too much and you want to give them CPR and you want to have a little barrier between you and the bloody guy, there's a CPR rescue breathing barrier in there.
You know what I always
You
wanted.
don't get vomit in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was always gonna so all these kits come out, right?
Yeah.
Hang on, let's see what else he's got.
4 observant pads and the stretchy. Now this shit is magic. This is one of my favorite things. It sticks to itself more than anything. So this stretchy tricot style expanding bandage, even if you can put nothing on other than like literally a piece of clean Kleenex over the wound, and then you put this on it, it's done. It's not going to bleed anymore. So this is a big, big deal. And this kit is $50 bucks. So it's
pretty good.
$50.
I mean, every car should have this in their trunk
yeah,
or in
it
their
really is.
front.
What I would add to that kit
Yeah.
is a spray bottle of iodine.
Yes,
You have iodine in
absolutely.
a spray bottle.
Yep.
If we had that
Yep.
in Ohio, that would just spraying that wound with that.
Yeah,
that
I
would be
agree.
Perfect.
I agree.
Iodine's the perfect thing.
Yeah.
You know what
It
else?
doesn't necrotize flesh. It doesn't kill the flesh. It doesn't put an oil on it that'll keep it from knitting together.
Bandage sticks.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing about iodine. In 10 seconds after the iodine goes on, you can stick anything to it.
Right.
The skin around the wound sticks to it.
Right.
Whereas Bactine and a lot of other stuff, it has that oiliness to it, and it just won't. There's like a little lotion in there.
So what I was going to say, the thing that you could probably add to this,
Yeah.
it's something like, especially for the kind of stuff we do, where like skin tears
Yes.
are a good possibility.
Yeah.
Like with pegs or whatever. So I've got quite a few tattoos over my lifetime, and in the last bunch of years, they came out with this stuff called Tegaderm.
Tegaderm is genius.
So, but my thing is like
Yeah.
so I had a bunch of it laying around the house.
Yeah.
Because I bought it for whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I cut myself.
Yeah.
and it was a pretty like I probably should have got stitches.
Yeah.
But I put a piece of Tegaderm over it, pulled the thing shut, and it stayed there for 7 days. It healed, and then I pulled it off.
Yeah.
So like you know,
Tegaderm's amazing because Tegaderm breathes.
yeah, exactly. So you're not, and it lets all the bad juices out. And it doesn't let
So
anything in.
that's one of those products.
Juices.
Hey.
Yeah.
So Tegaderm is a really good product
Yeah.
to have around. It's expensive. It's pricey.
It is, but you know, but like
But-
if you had a 6x4
Oh, yeah.
piece,
Yeah.
you could save stitches. Like you wouldn't have to
Of
give
course.
stitches for a lot of people. You know.
So I figure for $50, if you could put one of these in your car,
Is there room to add stuff to it?
yeah, there's quite a bit of room, and you can freestyle this thing
and
pretty
it's got
good.
that military mesh on it, right? Like
It's
that,
got
What do you call that stuff?
mole.
Mole, yeah.
Yeah, it's got mole on it. So yeah, you could make this into as big as you want it.
Mustache.
It's got,
There's room for
puts-
condoms.
Yeah, puts hemostats in it for sure. That'd be a really good thing in it. But what I do like about it is, you know, a lot of the shit that a lot of people are like, oh, this is mil spec, and then I look at it, I'm like, this is not mil spec, right? You know, like mil spec has become this thing that's like, you know, genuine fruit flavor, right?
yeah.
You know, mil spec gets thrown around a lot, and mil spec is one of those things it's very dangerous when people start buying things that are mil spec. But that, if we pass it around, it's legit. I mean, that's pretty fucking.
It ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. That's who approved. But they're for $50. That was the best kit I could find, and then I did buy some extra Israeli bandages, just because those are good to have around.
So when that thing comes out of there,
Yeah.
is it squishy or what? Like what is it?
It's basically do you know what an army field dressing looks like? No. Okay, it's basically a big gauze strap with like 7 maxi pads
Okay.
in the middle of it. And so that was the old World War II Vietnam era field dressing.
Okay.
And you could put some sulfur down on it, lay the pad down, and then just keep going over it, and then tie the knot over the pad to give it some compression, right? To give it a little bit of compression
All right,
without being
got it.
too much. The Israeli bandages have taken that way further. So the Israeli bandage is basically like an ace bandage. So it has the springiness, and then it also has this brilliant clamp, for lack of a better term. And you take that device, you take that plastic part, and you put that over where the injury is. And then usually, you know, arm, leg, extremity kind of thing. And then you wrap that into your pile. Like as you're wrapping this thing around the wound, you're having that little compressor in there as well. And that's going to keep the tension on it.
Gotcha.
And by keeping the tension on it, with a lot of wound dressings, they can get loose. So you put it on and you're like, I got this on. It's great. It's not going anywhere. But then, you know, you're moving around. You know, this isn't the kind of thing that you use when you're laying on a couch.
Right.
So you're moving around, and then pretty much you realize that, oh my God, that wound dressing that I did is now 6 inches or 7 inches above or below where I have the wound.
Right.
And that's what happened with my problem at Mid-Ohio was I would dress the wound, and then an hour and a half later, because the mud, the blood, and the beer, it was not where it should be.
Walking on you.
Yeah, it walked on me. So I had to get that Tegaderm and lay that shit on there. So that's what kept it from going.
Another thing,
Yeah.
I'd say, because there was 2 things that caused me to think of this. I thought of it last week, forgot about it. Then today I actually was reminded of it. Is a fire extinguisher. Like just to have one. I was in the garage and I was fucking around and like something caught on fire. And I'm like, I don't have a fire extinguisher in here. I was like, fuck. But
I
then,
put my neighbor's house out a couple weeks
yeah, you
ago.
just said
Oh, you
said it.
did?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So it was well, maybe it was not New Year's Eve. But
No, it was.
football game or something. Somebody lit off fireworks to celebrate like something.
Yeah, okay.
Other people were lighting off fireworks.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it was
New Year's. I think it was because
Okay,
you
so
told
it
me
was a
about
while.
Yeah, okay.
But so we're sitting in my house, and all of a sudden, kaboom, boom! I mean, like, holy shit! Like this is. I'm like, I thought it was in my backyard. Did somebody?
It's kicking off.
And then Piper's like, hey, that shit's hitting our cars and everything. And I'm like,
Really?
Oh, no, man. I was like, so
Yeah.
I get up to go look. By the time I got over there, it had stopped. But I'm looking over on the neighbor's front door, on like their front little porch stoop. It looked like somebody was smoking a cigarette.
Okay.
I saw a flame, but it didn't go out.
All right.
I'm like, well, what's that? That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started going a little bit more.
All right.
And then it started going a little bit more, and I'm like, hey, you know, I think the neighbor's house is on fire.
Whoa.
Something's on fire
Yeah.
over there. We better go check it out. Peggy's like, you want the fire extinguisher? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fire extinguisher. By the time I got out of my house and out through my fence to their front door,
Mm-hmm.
the wreath that they had on their front door that had caught on fire.
Oh, Jesus.
Had 3 feet of flame rolling on up under the vinyl.
Yeah, because wreaths are made of fuel.
Oh my God! This
Yeah.
thing went like so. We come up and there's like a pile on the ground.
Yeah.
And, like, it's in full thing, and I'm like, and there was a guy sitting pulled up in front of their house, beeping his horn, like, "Hey, your fucking house is on fire!"
Yeah. Were they even home or?
Well, after we later find out, yeah, they were upstairs. The people upstairs were upstairs, and the other lady had her dog down there.
Wow.
But I pulled the pin and
Was it a powder or a CO2?
powder.
Oh, you made a good mess, didn't you?
But
Well,
dude,
yeah, and they ain't fucking cleaned it up, the rental property that it is, and it burnt the door, cracked the glass. I mean, it was enough
Yeah.
heat that it cracked the glass.
Yeah.
She posted the before and after. I mean, it disintegrated. I mean, it was
Yeah.
gone.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was down to the wire. I mean, and it had, you can see where it started melting the vinyl siding. The flash
Yeah.
for siding is like 4 or 5. It's like $4.95.
It's not real high, yeah.
It'll actually catch on
Yeah.
fire.
Oh, yeah.
well, today, so my second thing that I noticed that made me think about getting a fucking fire extinguisher. So Moto America, we all love Moto America,
We do?
right? So they're doing an interview about the upcoming season in a garage with a rider in his leathers, and his team is working on the bike behind him in this garage. And like they've been doing test lapping out, hot lapping, and so on there and whatever. And so, I mean, it's like all cinematic, like the camera, like it looks like a CNN interview or like a 2020. It's
Yeah,
like really
right.
well done. And so they're like, "So, are you excited about this year?" And the rider's like, "Yeah, like working with this team and the crew of guys behind me. Look, they're working right now." And the guy's like, "Yeah." He goes, "It seems like you have a good team." And then you hear the guy go, "Oh," and the whole bike just goes, and like, I mean, like flames shoot out the side, the thing, and nobody notices. The dude that had it
Yeah.
happen, he's on the ground because he's
Yeah.
freaking out.
Well, of course.
Nobody else is there, so the camera guy's like, "Hey, the bike's on fire!"
Right. Yeah.
And everybody turns around and starts running everywhere.
Yeah.
And then the dude from that racing team actually responded with a video that said, "Thank you to the camera
Yeah,
crew,
fuck
because
yeah.
apparently you're way more on top of the ball than our entire team is that didn't notice the motorcycle on fire." And like this
Nice.
is like their brand new bike that they're going into the year with and stuff. It was pretty awesome, man.
My favorite thing in the world is CO2 fire extinguishers.
Oh yeah. 'Cause they're
Okay.
leaving it.
I fucking love a CO2 fire extinguisher because when you have a CO2 fire extinguisher and you oops, and you have one of those moments and you're like, "Oh, fire extinguisher." When the fire's done, so is the mess. Right?
Halon were really good fire extinguishers too.
Yeah, but I'm on a budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yes. But
Yeah.
There's the other thing is the chemical, the powder
Yeah.
ones, they help like flash up. So
Yeah.
CO2 might put it down,
But it'll come right back.
but it's like the candle,
Yep.
blowing out a candle. and it
Absolutely.
becomes,
Sure enough.
so,
Yep.
yeah.
Well,
There's
you
benefits to both.
yeah. Well, I hate cleaning up a mess. Yeah. And we've had to use those chemical fire extinguishers, in not this
6 of 'em.
in not this room, but in buildings that I've owned. But here's the thing.
And there's still white powder in those rooms.
Yeah, I'm certain of it. Somebody will clean a light fixture someday, and it'll just yellow powder will just rain down on them. But it turns out, if you go to a salvage yard, these kinds of places, people will take in fully charged CO2 fire extinguishers. If you have an industrial supply place like we have HGR, there's a whole section of just like mystery fire extinguishers. So, there's a lot to be said for having a perfectly serviced with a tag on it that somebody certified, made sure it's perfect. But trust me,
Gene Tessick.
that shit is expensive.
That's what we use.
Right? So maintaining a fire extinguisher and buying those CO2 fire extinguishers, those are very expensive. But you can, and I have, bought some lightly repossessed fire extinguishers from HGR and our local salvage yard because they do pay for metal by the pound. And so some people get real crafty. The Jawas around here will get real crafty, and they'll take a stolen fire extinguisher and they'll take it in to get $4 or $5 for it.
Right.
And then meanwhile, I go in there. I was like, "You got 4 or 5 fire extinguishers over there?" And he goes, "Yeah, every couple of weeks somebody brings in 5 or 6 fire extinguishers, and I don't know where they came from, but I can't crush them. I can't do anything with them because they're fire extinguishers."
Right.
And it's like a scuba tank, And so I said, "Well, what's the deal?" And I'm like, "I'll buy one off you. I'll buy 2 off you.
Buck a CC.
And the guy was like, he goes, yeah, give me $10. So I got these, and I went and found ones that had like, they were in the green, and the tag on them was from like last year.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, for $5, I got that thing hanging around.
Do you know what a 5 or 6 or 8-year-old fire extinguisher is better than?
No fire extinguisher. Yeah.
Right.
The one in my garage, the one I had in my garage, last time it was charged was 1976. It has a tag on it from 76. And
I'm not sure that one's good.
I didn't need it.
Yeah.
It was all rusty.
Yeah.
But I didn't need it. It wasn't like a Steve's Barn situation.
Right.
But it was like, I was just like, okay, it's a CO2 fire extinguisher. Let's see what's going on. Nobody's going to recharge this thing. So I was like, let's just pretend. And I pulled the pin and I hit the thing and it was game on.
Really?
And it was 100% game on. It hasn't been tested, certified since 1976.
Wow.
That's that whole thing about one moving part.
Right.
Right? Yeah. One moving part. A big pressurized bottle with one valve on it and one moving part.
And like if it has never been fucked with,
Yeah.
and the seal's never even been
No.
almost broken,
No.
it's probably chill.
It was fine.
Yeah.
I was surprised that it worked.
Yeah.
I wish I had a little fire to put out, but on the other hand, I'm glad I didn't have a little fire to put out.
Yeah.
And it did. It was probably 30 pounds, like a 30-pound
wow.
cylinders, good size one.
Yeah.
It went longer than I thought it would. Yeah, so game on.
Enough that you couldn't breathe. You're like,
It's CO2. I basically got beers out, and I want to see how long it would take to chill out the
chill,
beers.
yeah.
Fast. It's faster than you think it would be.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, in the Army, we would expend the little ones, the little portable fire extinguishers, like the man-portable ones. You could pretty much not get a beer cold with one of those. That was kind of a waste of time. But a 30-pounder, game on. You got ice. So, yeah. So, and then last thing I just wanted to bring up just for fun, our friend Chris Ashmore, if anybody listens to the Cafe Racer podcast, which is now Two Wheel Podcast, he's in Japan. He's in the Navy. So, Chris.
In the Navy.
Yeah.
You can sell the 7Z.
You can. He's doing it all, man. And so he's left San Diego. He's out in Japan. And I told him if he buys it, well, I'm sorry, I'll buy it. I'll do the money part of it. He has to do the bird dogging. But he's been on a quest now for quite a while of a Suzuki SW1. We've talked about this before.
AKA the Tanuki Suzuki.
It is the Tanuki. It's the Suzuki Tanuki. Oh, if this thing, we're Tanuki in the hell out of this thing. So anyway, but that's what it is. And anybody wants to see it and wants to know what pictures of it look like, that's what it looks like. It is a weird little motorcycle that
The rims are cool.
Yeah, and it's funny because the bike screams 1954. The rims
I think they're pretty cool.
scream 1992 because the bike was made in 92.
yeah, those are CBR 250 rims.
They are something.
No,
Yeah,
but because it's such a dichotomy from the bike.
yeah, it is. But you know what I would do? I've got to believe that a TU 200 or TU 250 front end was going to drop right onto this thing. And then you'll have the chrome wheel, you'll have the chrome fender, and it'll probably look
probably
a
do the back
lot
wheel,
better.
too.
What's that?
Probably do the back wheel too.
I don't think you need to because you can't see it. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, there's no back wheel back there. Really? I have to take her word for it because it's fully ensconced.
Yeah, you're right.
And so the top of the gas tank is a frunk,
Yep.
and the side panels are both trunks. So this thing's got plenty of storage. Very, very curious motorcycle. So
And it came in beige and
beige.
It's a
Yeah.
PC 800.
It's a
That's
PC
not a
250.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a PC 250. Yeah, it's a PC 250. There's your side hatch. So your side hatch, put things in there, right? So that's your left side hatch. And then this over here is your right side hatch. So you got a right side hatch, you got a left side hatch. I think it's a very fantasy looking motorcycle. It looks like something you'd find in a strange Japanese piece of animation. But I've always been fascinated by him. Absolutely love him. So here's fingers crossed for Chris Ashmore, that he's going to come up with the deal. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So Crash is out there. So I told him, and the good news is he gets to drive it the whole time he's deployed. So this is it. He doesn't need to buy a car or anything. He's got this. I think he has a car anyway, but the he can enjoy it, and then the Navy will ship it home. So yeah, it's over 25 years old, so we don't have to worry about that. So yeah, pretty exciting thing.
yeah, that's neat.
So we got one lined up. Now we'll just hope that things come together, because that things align, because it would be really cool for him to be riding my motorcycle around in Japan for a while. That's be pretty happy about that.
It'd be neat to, you should ask him to do this.
Yeah.
He should do a photo journal of your bike visiting all the
In
cool
various
places
different cool
and
places.
Japanese
Yeah,
places.
they didn't make but a handful of these motorcycles. They were pretty polarizing. You didn't go in the dealership and go, "Oh my god, that's the best thing ever! I got to have one of those."
I can't imagine.
And so,
Can I have off-white, antique white?
yes. What color would you like it to be? Well, is cream too strong of a word? Yeah, beige.
But what
Yeah.
about the wheels? You want the wheels in a different color, right?
I'd like to have the wheels in a different shape as possible. Could we introduce a whole new geometric pattern to this? We haven't used triangles yet. No, I see.
One spoke
But
wheel.
but
Yes.
but you're not going to make the wheels beige.
One
are you?
spoked wheel,
Yeah,
like a
well-
Citroen steering wheel.
Yeah.
Just one fucking spoke. I did see one of our local folks running around here on a giant Impala, an Impala with like 22-inch rims or 24-inch rims on it, and the rim had one spoke, but it was from where the lug nuts were. It was 1.5 feet wide, and it went all the way down to one side of the rim. So to say it was one spoke, it was basically just an entire sheet of steel
That was
with a
terrible.
C-shaped cutout that wasn't the spoke. You know it couldn't have been rated for anything. You know that thing, one pothole and it's done. It's donezo. That's cool. Well, that's all I got.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I feel bad.
What more could you want?
What more could you want for this price point? Honestly,
Well, we're right at 2 hours.
you don't
so-
have to pay. We thank you if you do. That's super sweet and super cool of you. Renee's been stuffing her box so hard this week. Chris has seen every day we've had
Was that the
parcels
noise
going
that we
out.
heard before?
Yeah, did you hear it? That loud
The big
clunk.
thuds,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's Renee stuffing her box.
I thought so.
Yeah, that was probably a coffee mug or a pint glass or a T-shirt.
Is she worried about them breaking when they're in her box?
Well, no, she's a pretty tough box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's got control.
She's been around. Look, she's been around us for a long time. So we have not one, not two, but I believe 3 of the Moto Guzzi hats left. So 3 of the original Go Fuck Your Hat Moto Guzzi hats. Renee found 3 of them. If you want a Moto Guzzi hat, reach out to us immediately. There are only 3 left. If you don't own a Moto Guzzi, then you would probably like one of our newer hats that just says "Ride Fast and Take Chances" on it, Cleveland
Give
Moto.
them a thing of free rolling papers if they get one.
Yeah, according to Anna Lee, we do have free rolling. Oh, that's a good thing. We can put free rolling papers in. Yeah, is that still paraphernalia?
No. They're tobacco papers. What do you
Oh,
think?
you're right. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah,
I
yeah,
forgot.
yeah.
Again, I didn't know you could
You
even
hang
use
out
it
with
for
me
that
too
shit.
much. What are you doing?
I had no idea. What the fuck, man? All right, that's it. Anybody got anything else? No, my friends. Please remember to ride fast and take chances. Bum, bum, Press the red button. Get us out of here, Sleepy. Press